Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hope you guys are all doing well. I want to put at the very top before we get into anything. I am not I am not feeling good today. I have been sick for the last 2 days, and I've never missed a live stream discussion. And so I'm the best I can possibly be. I was way worse yesterday. But I'm still not feeling good at all. And I hope that gets better because tomorrow is chapter 9 and I want to have a bit more energy than I've had the last couple of days. But yeah, I have a headache. My entire body, my back aches so bad. I'm short of breath. It's just it's literally the jack of all. It's everything. I have water. I got more water. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I'm like on fire. I'm like super. I know I'm wearing a hoodie because if I take the hoodie off, I'm cold. But then if I put the hoodie on, I'm hot. So it's like, so I'm wearing the hoodie, but I also have my air conditioner on because it's just like I'm just, I don't know. I'm all over the place, dude. So yeah. I started feeling sick around Tuesday night. Like, as my Tuesday went on, I was like, I'm starting to feel off a little bit. And then as the day went on, I'm like, I think I'm getting sick. And then by the end of Tuesday, I was like, okay, I'm feeling it. And then Wednesday, I was full-blown sick. And then yesterday was the worst of it. And today, I was feeling better than yesterday. So I'm hoping that it gets better from here. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that because my energy is probably going to be at an all-time low as of right now, but I didn't want to not do a stream. I have never missed a live stream special, like a live stream discussion for RWBY. I think the furthest back that I can remember was volume 5, where I had to double up on episodes 1 week because that was the week I moved in with my roommate. So, and I think that was either volume 4 or 5. But yeah, so, I'm just not at the energy I would normally be at as of right now. But we're going to talk about everything. I just don't know. I apologize in advance if things are expedited a little bit, just for the sake of my, just for the sake of me wanting to rest as much as I can afterwards. Nimble Fox, thank you for the $50 super chat. Thank you. You're such a Giga Chad for still streaming despite being sick. Take it easy and don't strain yourself. Thank you. Yeah, I haven't been able to Twitch stream this week either, so like that's another thing too. I'm just like, one thing comes up and then another thing happens, and now that I'm sick, it's kind of affecting everything, but I'm just hoping that I can just get better as soon as possible. Gloomy, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hope you start feeling better soon. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, so we're gonna be getting into chapter 8. What an episode, man. What a chapter, dude. All the twists and turns, all the hype, all the suspense, all the shock. I can't believe that wasn't the finale. That's how crazy it was. And I'm just like, bro, there's 2 episodes left. I have no idea what's gonna happen. No clue what's gonna happen, dude. Church on 1, thank you for the $10 super chat. Hope you feel better, Arnold. Thank you so much. I hate being sick. I get sick. This is the first time I'm really sick this year. Like, severely. That goes beyond just like a cold or just like not feeling well. But yeah, it's like, it's everything, man. So I rarely get sick, but when I do, it's kind of like build up for all of the days of the year that I wasn't sick. It's like, okay, Arnold, you have to pay up. You got to pay up all of that wellness with a couple of days of sickness. But yeah, I mean, I really liked the episode. Like, I loved the chapter. It has me even more excited, despite how every episode is just getting more and more dramatic, more and more shocking. I think we're gonna have a warning every episode now, from like for the penultimate and the finale. I feel like, and so yeah, I just think that it was overall just a great experience. Pray for no thumbnail spoiler. I know. Yeah, that was the one thing though. The spoiler, the thumbnail incident for this chapter, they definitely dropped the ball on that one. I feel like it was to be expected, right? Like, we've been talking about that for such a long time, like Torchwick being a part of Neo's psychological, like characters in Neo's life filling the role of those clones. But I was not expecting it to be like, I just envisioned it differently. I wasn't expecting those clones to be the ones in question. I thought it would be like people of Neo's life, like her mom, her dad, and stuff like that. But for it to be characters within Ruby's life was pain incarnate.
It's 8:55, you dunce.
Whoa! Mary Fan, thank you for the 855, you dunce. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Give me 1 second. I actually have to pull up. Those alerts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. We have a little bit of lag spike on my side. Sorry if you guys are... I don't know if the stream is lagging at all. If it isn't, then great. But if it is, then I apologize. I'm seeing some drops on my end. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. It's not even hot in here. It's just I'm really hot. Hold on, give me 1 second. Actually, give me a second. I'm gonna go change and put like a regular t-shirt on. In before I start complaining now that I'm too cold, but I was like sweating practically. So, Chair Coon hype. Okay, hold on, give me 1 second. All right. Okay, this is not good. Hold on, give me 1 second. Ugh, I would be dealing with internet issues now. It's like I'm sick, and now I'm sick and tired of this. God damn it. Why is this happening? My router's fine. Give me 1 second. You look good to me? Okay. It's just weird because it's in the red for me as of right now. Okay. All right, we should be good now, I think. I hope. Please, maybe, kinda, sorta. All right. All right, give me 1 second. What time is it in your country? It is 4:16 p.m. Eastern. So that is the current time for me right now. Okay. All right, so just really quick, can you guys see me and hear me pretty well? Let me know before we go any further. I feel like there's going to be a slight delay on the chat itself. I can see you and hear you loud and clear. Okay, cool. Yes? Okay, cool. Alrighty. I guess we're just gonna try this, and I'll try to go as best I can. Fingers crossed that we don't have any significant issues. I'm getting drops on my end, but if you guys are saying, like, YouTube is saying I'm fine, y'all are saying I'm fine, so it might just be an OBS situation. All right. Such an upbeat chapter. Oh man, I have to try my best not to laugh because whenever I cough, my entire body just hurts. So I'm gonna try to keep laughing to a minimum. All right, there we go. Okay, it seems like we're in the green now, which is good. All right. Do you have a mute button on your mic? Yes, I do. Well, I don't have a mute button on my mic. I have a mute button on my Stream Deck, which is a command that mutes my mic with a button press. But my mic itself doesn't have a mute button. Okay. Oh, in case I need a cough? Oh, that's smart. I should just do that. Instead of, like, just freaking die. You guys just hearing me die in the background. Okay. I feel a lot more put together. I feel a lot more composed to jump into this chapter. And so, all right, that looks good. Chat looks good. All right, so thank you guys for being patient. I'm sorry that we had a little bit of scuffed internet. Long story short, if you guys are just joining now, I am sick. I do not feel very good. I've been sick for the last 3 days, but I wanted to still follow through with doing a live stream discussion for this chapter because it was fantastic. It's the day before the penultimate chapter 9 for tomorrow. And I've never missed a live stream discussion. It's been years since I think I missed one or like moved it or like rolled it over to the next chapter. But with volume 9 in particular, I definitely didn't want to miss a beat with talking about these episodes week to week. So I'm just going to try my best to get through the conversations as seamlessly as I can. So I do apologize if things aren't as in-depth or as long-winded as they typically are, if that's even a good thing. It's just the fact of, like, I'm just not at my 100% right now. But I hope you guys still enjoy the conversations all the same. So, with that said, let us get the first images up on screen here and we can start. Oh, actually, hold on. Usually, Usually it's this one that I can... Okay. There we go. Alright, so hopefully this looks good. And this is a good, reasonable size for everything. But yeah, so the episode opens up kind of transitioning immediately with how the last one ended, with RWBY running away from her team, just kind of being emotionally overwhelmed with, like, lashing out, getting her feelings out there, wanting to be left alone. And thankfully, Little, being one of the only like, Little... I just want to say this. Little was the unsung hero of this chapter. Like, things would have been a bajillion times worse if Little wasn't around. And so I feel like it's equally heartbreaking that Little was done so dirty this chapter. I feel like Little is like the MVP of this volume. And this chapter in particular, it's just so unfortunate to just see this wholesome little mouse just do the best it can. You know, it's doing the best they can, and it's just like, bruh. I was like, RWBY, Little didn't do anything wrong. Why are you yelling at the mouse? You know what I mean? Explain, question mark? Wait, explain... I know RWBY did warn Little, like, hey, if you stick around with me, you're gonna only end up dead. And it's like... I guess Little doesn't have plot armor. But, goddamn. But no, like, Little prevented the cat from taking over RWBY. Because it bit him. It bit the cat. It bit the cat's tail and kind of distracted it. Like, I'm pretty sure the cat would have nabbed RWBY if that wasn't the case before Neo got back. So that's what I mean. Like, Little literally saved RWBY. I mean, granted, RWBY still ascended, but it's a way better outcome than being hostile taken over by the cat who's trying to make it to Remnant. So yeah, that's that. I don't know if that's what I saw a comment, someone asking me to explain. That's what I meant by, like, Little was kind of like the MVP of this chapter. The unsung hero, if you will. Because despite everything RWBY told them, they still went along. You know, they still tailed her. But yeah. So, yeah, this entire exchange was just kind of like RWBY lashing out. Obviously, she wants to be alone. She doesn't want anyone to try to tell her differently or sway her from how she's feeling. Even though Little's just kind of looking out for her. You know what I mean? It's like, Little's the guide. Little's the one that's trying to, like, help her get back home. And, you know, obviously RWBY's in a place right now where she's just kind of, like, pushing everybody away. And, you know, obviously that's not what's best for her, because it puts her in a more vulnerable state where it's like RWBY being alone and RWBY being pushed away by her team is what led the situation to kind of be where she ends up in the perfect situation for Neo to just toy with her, you know? And Little tailing RWBY, despite RWBY lashing out, was like what a friend would do. And so I'm really happy that Little kind of followed through with that, you know, through and through. Give me 1 second. Okay. I can't tell if my focus is good or not. All right, I should be fine though. Okay. Yeah, and there was one, God, it's so heartbreaking, man. Because, like, Little is, like, I feel like the key to RWBY finding, not just finding her way home, but just, like, finding her sense of self. Like, just, like, Little is, like, what RWBY needs. And, it was so heartbreaking because, like, as I rewatched the episode, I kind of got the idea that, like, Little was like, RWBY was like, just go home. And Little said, but you're, and then RWBY's like, just go. I feel like Little was going to say, but you're my home. Like, Little feels at home with RWBY. And it just makes it all the more heartbreaking, man, when you realize that, like, this fucking mouse has grown so attached to her, and, like, RWBY has grown so detached from everybody else, and it's just so sad. It's, bro, 1 volume, that's all it took. So, yeah, this entire situation, like RWBY kind of did away with the rest of her team, and this was kind of like the final push to get Little off her back. Despite everything Little has kind of done, even if hasn't been that significant, it's the little things that I fucking did it, dude. I made an unintentional pun. It's the little things, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. I am literally dying. I feel like I'm sweating through this shirt. It's not even funny. I hate being sick, guys. I appreciate you guys tolerating me in this state of affairs. It's not the best, but it is what it is. Little is the manifestation of the positivity that RWBY no longer had. Thank you for the super chat, Black Omen. I agree. She's the little hope. I remember saying that a few chapters back, but I was like, Little represents so much more than just a guide or a companion or, you know, a side character. It represents, like, the angel on my shoulder kind of thing, like the best parts of RWBY. Because, like, RWBY herself is just like a big ball of depression and trauma and angst. And then she's got this little creature of light that kind of keeps everything together for her. And now that she's done away with that, she's done away with her team, she only has her inner thoughts, which at this point is like the worst thing she should be left alone with, you know? And so, yeah, literally, I think I literally broke my brain last week trying to say that. But yeah, so I felt like this was great, at least to kind of up the stakes of what was to come in the episode, despite how the final conclusion of it played out, which is, I can't believe we still have 2 episodes left. Like, I know we have the penultimate, but, like, sometimes the penultimate chapter goes as hard as the finale, and I'm shocked that this episode was neither of those, you know? So, I'm just hoping that things, like, ramp up. So, it pretty much, first off, I would just like to express wholeheartedly that I will never forgive RWBY for making the cake acre, and we never got to go to it. Just throwing that out there. You know, I wanted to be a man of my word, and I said, if we don't get to go there by the end of the volume, I would never forgive RWBY. I will never forgive RWBY for this. An actual injustice upon mankind. But yeah, so Neo literally landed in this ruin acre and just freaking built a house here. If you guys noticed, the Purple Rain, if the Prince Purple Rain didn't sell it to you enough, if you look around, like, in different parts of the outside, like when the cat launches Neo out of the house, and you see, like, her getting shot from the ceiling outward, or even in the final shot where you see the tree, you can see, like, those spiked structures from, like, the darkness ruined acre. And that's literally where she fell in the 3rd episode, at the end of the 3rd episode. So I'm just like, damn, bro, she literally just pitched a tent and was like, yeah, this will do. And I'm like, bro, there's so much more to this world. I actually thought it would be appropriate to have the ice cream girl with the cake acre. You could have an ice cream cake. Like, it could have been great. It could have been awesome, man. An ice cream cake, like, reference right there. But, yeah, I guess this place is dark and brooding and ominous and just the right mood for this volume or for these episodes at this point, so I guess it works. But but yeah, I'll only be able to imagine what could have been. I want, like, all of the, like, the freaking the afterins there, right? Like, are there ones that are just, like, made of like, I just wonder what's there now. And it's just like, damn, bro, I'm just never gonna know. It's so sad. But yeah, I mean, who knows? The finale could be at the Caker. You know, I don't know. I'm just kidding. That's copium. We're clearly going to the tree, and the final confrontation is most likely going to take place at the tree at this point. I don't know how the story of Alex progresses beyond this point, because the cat has been kind of this like the cat like kind of changed the story a little bit, so maybe like them changing the script a bit will also kind of allow them to just bypass whatever other stuff they have to go through to get to the tree. But yeah. Yeah, so, and even RWBY here, you can see RWBY moving to the other acre, and it's that same dark light bridge that we saw the Jabberwocker run by when we first saw, when we first got Neo. So I liked the transition point here too, like the spotlight on RWBY as she's just going deeper and deeper into darkness, the butterfly following, kind of representing the metamorphosis she's going to be going through. And then we get like literally Roman Holiday, like to a T. I will definitely say that I feel it's not necessarily, right, to read Roman Holiday in order to just gravitate and take in what you're experiencing. But I'm just wondering how much more enriching my experience would have been had I read the book before this volume came out. Because undoubtedly there are things, there's like subtext, there's like a better understanding of Neo and why she's doing this, and like what it like at what cost it matters for her as a character. And like I kind of regret not reading the book before I got to this point, because I'm definitely gonna read the book now, but I kind of wish that I had read it beforehand. So I'm definitely reading After the Fall and Before the Dawn before we get to Vacuo for the next volume, just because like that clearly refers and talks about Vacuo and the characters that are already there and stuff like that. Yeah, the book I'm referring to is RWBY Roman Holiday. It's a book centered around Neo and Torchwick and like their time together in the past. But yeah, I for me personally, like that kind of that sits in my mind a lot whenever I know that there's certain media that would enhance my experience, but because I don't have it, I feel like I'm missing something. So but no, this was still great. I mean, we still know Roman Torchwick from volumes 1 through 3. And they, like, I can't believe, like, I said it in my reaction video as well, but, like, they have immortalized Roman Torchwick in this volume. I feel like Roman Torchwick of Beacon Arc is, like, the Roman that we all kind of, like, fell in love with, but this is the Roman that I feel like we will also think back on just as fondly, because the mannerisms were on point, the voice acting by Christopher and Billy was seamless, and it really delivered on Torchwick's demeanor and just like the kind of nonchalant, like criminal bad boy that he always has been, you know, because it's been years. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's been 7 years since we've seen Torchwick, like 6 or 7 years since we've seen Torchwick, you know, and like, you know, Neo's been harboring this hatred since then as well. But yeah, it was phenomenal, and I'm really happy that I waited until the credits just to see, because he was supposed to be Torchwick in Ice Queendom, and the thought at the time was, well, if he was voicing Roman back then, did he do voice work before he passed away for volume 9? And I'm really happy that they were able, that they kept it in, you know. So I feel like that was a beautiful tribute and you know, lasting impact to his memory for RWBY. God, and he was so great in Persona 5. That's the only, I think that's like the only thing that I know that he worked on, and that I've personally like experienced. But Dr. Maruki was the best character in Persona 5 Royal, and I absolutely loved it because of his performance. And I love how it was a joint effort. It was Christopher and Billy's performance. And I couldn't tell, like, they both kind of, like, you know, they kind of carried each other in that sense. No, I've never played a Fire Emblem game, so I was unaware that he was in Fire Emblem, actually. But yeah, it was just so great to see him. I will never forgive Crunchyroll for that abysmal thumbnail, though, because that shit was right in my face. Like, going into these next 2 episodes, I'm literally gonna start up Crunchyroll like this. I'm gonna be like this, and I'm gonna grab my mouse, and I'm just gonna click on the episode, and I'm gonna try to click on the episode without looking at anything. Oh, man. In my head, I was like, there has to be something even bigger that happens that justifies this being the thumbnail. You know what I mean? And it was like, it's like Jean. And I said it too. I was like, it's like the Jean situation. Like, we knew it was Jean who was the Rested Knight, but we didn't know it was that Jean. We didn't know it was like a 20-year aged up Jean arc. So, like, it was still shocking, even if it was obvious. And it was the same way. It was like, I'm not surprised that Torchwick's in the episode, but I'm surprised he's in the episode in the way that he was. So yeah, that was a fumble, because I don't know, I don't know, like, the nature in how they structure the episodes, the thumbnails, whatever, but clearly whoever put this episode together didn't understand the gravity of that reveal. And so, yeah. But other than that, like, in my head, I'm like, actually, with the cat, like, plot twist and, like, Pira and Penny and all of that, like, that was even bigger. But here's the thing, if you guys didn't know, they didn't fuck up once. They fucked up twice. Because the first time they fucked up, for those who didn't know, if you watch the episode as soon as possible, the first thumbnail was Torchwick. And then they got a bunch of backlash and they were like, oh shit, we gotta fix this. So they upgraded and they doubled. They were like, okay, we'll get rid of the thumbnail of Torchwick. That's clearly a spoiler. So what do? They put the thumbnail of Penny, Pira, and Lionheart as the thumbnail. And it's like, bruh, I feel that's even worse. Because at least Torchwick was expected. Torchwick was at least like, well, yeah, of course. Like, you can't have Neo without Torchwick. And that has to be something that is shown to us in the Ever After. Like, it was never a matter of if, it was when, in my opinion. But the Pira, Pira in the Maya engine, bro, like, I'm actually really happy that I got, like, if it's the lesser of 2 evils, I'm glad I got spoiled on the Torchwick thumbnail than the Pira and Penny one. I would have been furious. I would have been so mad. But yeah, like, I don't know how they did it. And closed captions still don't work. I don't think they will for the foreseeable volume. But yeah. And I don't want to make this out like, oh, Crunchyroll doesn't know what the hell. This is like one time that it happened, but like it is a monumental first time fuck up. It was like the worst time to fuck up. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know what the thumbnail is now. I've already seen the episode multiple times, so I actually don't know what they settled on at this point. Oh, it's just RWBY? So lame. They should have had it like Neo, like the shot of Neo's eye, like before the cat like jumped all in there. That would have been great, because it would have been like it's a Neo episode, of course. We haven't gotten Neo the entire volume. I feel like that, like, just put Neo in the shot, but don't make it a spoiler. Anyways, I feel like I'm talking about this for way too long. Anyways, yeah, so I love the Roman holiday vibes. It's definitely going to make me, it makes me more compelled to read the book, because Roman Holiday actually kind of gives us more about the Ever After, Alex's story, and like Neo and Roman. Like, I feel like that book is more pivotal to this volume than like even retroactively understanding their relationship during the Beacon arc. You know, because they lightly talk about like Alex and the Ever After and that story because Neo like knew about it growing up. So I thought it was really cool how like at the very least, like for people who read the book, I feel like it was a much more enriching experience if they with that information. Like Cal, for example, like reading that book changed her life. Like I even feel like it changed like her brain chemistry, and I'm not even joking about that. Like she is very much a different person after reading that book. And yeah, like she was able to kind of perceive and understand and break down and know more about like Alex and stuff like that because of that book. So I think it was really, I think that's a good, I think that's like a good thing, especially since we got the book long before the volume came out. I don't see why they don't use the mansion in the thumbnail. Yeah, like anything that signifies that it's a Neo episode. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I can't wait to see your reaction. Yeah, it's gonna be posted tomorrow, actually. Yeah. The episode was wild. Like, I thought it was done, and then the cat showed up. And when I tell you I've never been more caught off guard in my entire life, bro, I could not believe. I was like, for a split second, I was like, oh my god, the cat just saved Ruby. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then immediately, I was like, damn, dude. Yeah, like, I couldn't believe. Oh, man. But yeah, so this transition was really great. I love how Roman still calls Ruby Red. I don't think he's ever called Ruby by her name. It's always been by her color. And again, that's his kind of like, that's like his demeanor as a you know, as a character. But I miss that. I miss Roman so much. I felt so blindsided by his death because it was like, he was without a doubt like one of the best characters during the Beacon arc, and it just sucks that his role didn't feel as minimal as I thought it was. Like when you looked at the situation, I kind of felt like Torchwick was more important than Cinder because he was actually doing shit. He was the one that was actually there. You know what I mean? Like putting in work and whatnot. But like, yeah, like it just turned out like, yeah, Torchwick was not that important. He was not that significant to the plot. And they made that apparent. They were like, okay, we got to kill this man in the most like immediate shock value way possible because there is no way that we can possibly keep this man around. Yeah. But yeah, so seeing him again was just great. And then this okay, chat, I want to know. I would like to know. Do you think they're going to animate these characters in the intro? Do you think those silhouetted characters in the intro are going to be these characters? If they do that, that is going to be the most Giga Chad move ever. I hope so, but I just don't know. Like, Jean was a cool thing. Like, Jean was like a cool transition for them. But, yeah, I did not think that... I did not think those silhouettes were people that have died along, like, over the course of Ruby's journey. And I thought it was literally going to be like her mom. I thought it was going to be, I knew it was going to be Roman. Like that was a no-brainer. But I thought it was like her mom, her dad, her, I don't know, the person that she trained with at school. Like, you know, people that were significant to Neo. But like, when it was these characters, I saw Pira from like when they did like the lighting display, like, that you saw them from the background. I literally saw Pira's red hair and I was freaking out before we actually saw her. And I was like, I can't believe. And then when I realized they're all dead characters, I was just like, bro, that is foul. Also, I watched this episode back and I was like, I think all the headmasters of this age are going to die. I actually think Theodore is going to die because Ozpin died, Leo died, Ironwood died, and so that just leaves Theodore. Just based on, you know, the protagonist. It's like, yo, Ruby was right. If you cross my path, your ass is dead. So yeah, that is unfortunate. Is this confirmation Ironwood is dead? Here's an interesting perspective on that, actually. These characters are being projected from Neo's perspective. And one part about that was really interesting is that Neo doesn't know if Penny actually died. And the reason for that is because when she's projecting Penny to Ruby, she says, I died in Atlas too, didn't I? Which she's just kind of like, she's kind of nudging, like, Penny could have died, but I don't know for sure. But it's enough to kind of like push Ruby if it actually did happen and if she knows it happened. You know what I mean? It's the didn't I. That's the uncertainty, which means that Neo thinks that Ironwood died, which is why Ironwood's here. Neo would know for confirmation about all of these other characters dying. She was at Vale with Pira. She was, or at least, you know, like the news of Leo dying was made public, so she knows that Leo died. Tyrion killed Clover, which was like pretty much established when Team Ruby and company were under arrest. And Neo was also disguising herself as like Atlas official, so she would know that Clover died. She knows Ozpin's died already because of Oscar. And yeah, so from Neo's perspective, all of these characters have died. She didn't see Ironwood die, but from the situation, everyone believes that he's dead. Also, yeah, Miles did confirm it as well, but like I'm talking about in show, like Neo just doesn't have confirmation herself because like they all just fell in the ever after. So the only logical explanation is that she thinks he's dead, so that's why he's here. Yeah, but Miles did confirm that Ironwood is dead. Yeah. He did it in a cameo, I think it was. Like, someone asked him a question. And, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they've ever said something that they lied about that wasn't true. Just to kind of subvert expectations. Because usually they just wouldn't answer. You know what I mean? Like, Miles had no... I guess he didn't have to answer that, but I guess he could have answered it a different way. Isn't that a spoiler? Not really. Like if you didn't believe that Ironwood was dead from that, but he was dead, wouldn't the only way that you would be convinced is if the creator actually told you that he was dead? Which is what I assume that they're getting at. It's like, we tried our best to express that Ironwood's dead. But some people, that's not enough for some people. So you do have to go the extra mile in confirming publicly that, no, he's dead. But again, the extra mile. Yeah, you have to go the extra miles. I didn't even know I did that. Look at me. I'm a natural. All right, let me get to some of these super chats real quick. I don't want to miss any of these. Potato J, Forrest should have been there instead of Leo. Don't at me. I agree. You know, Forrest was actually a forest to be reckoned with. All right, I'm moving on. These puns are getting out of hand, dude. Look at you guys have done, man. I'm trying to do a discussion and I'm over here goofing off. Anonymous Gamer, thank you for the $5 super chat. Neo surrounded by deadbeats. True. Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah, they're all dead. Brandon, the Rabote. Arnold in Volume 7. What if Neo makes a fake Pira in the Maya engine to torment Jean? Ruby, I bet. Did I say that? Oh, I actually do remember saying that. Yeah, I do. Well, yeah, they were just like, yeah, let's change that around a little bit. Oh my god, I forgot that I mentioned that, but yeah. Holy moly. Hey, Julius Spite, welcome back. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey, Arnold, heard that you were sick. Hope you're feeling better. Much love and hugs from all of us. Yeah, I am trying to keep it together right now. I'm staying fueled. I'm staying hydrated. I'm doing the best I can. I'm probably gonna go on a bathroom break in a second, but yeah. Thank you for the well wishes. I really hope I feel better tomorrow. I'm actually kind of feeling a little bit better right now. I feel like it's because I'm brute forcing my way. I'm just like, screw you, sickness. All right, I have a live stream to do. You ain't gonna hold me down. And like, I'm just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I'm just pushing through the sickness and I'm slowly healing myself in the process. As I start coughing my life up. Double, thank you for the 5 super chat. I think the most shocking thing they could do in the intro would be to remove RWBY from every shot. Ooh. That would be so cool. Oh my god. Actually, that would be less work. It's just delete the RWBY model. That would be sick. That would be so cool. I actually would prefer that now, actually. Ah. I really hope something changes in the intro. I really do. That would be so freaking awesome. Oh, and I'm at the part in the chat where everyone's reacting to my phenomenal punmanship of Forest. I love it. Tiny Bird Programmer, thank you for the 5 super chat. Ah, yes, Neo and her organization 8. I'm sorry for coughing, guys. Hold on, give me a second. I hate being sick so much. I hate being sick. No, I don't have COVID. I barely leave my house. I'm just sick. That's all. Novatatsu 101, thank you for the super chat. Neo was the real cerebral assassin in this episode. I don't. Oh, cerebral assassin. Gotcha. Okay. Mama Budgie Clipper, I think that's how you say that. Thank you for the super chat. Do you think RWBY went... Hold on. Do you think RWBY went to Remnant when she drank the tea and that the cat will also end up there? Side note, could Alex's brother be Oz? No, I think she went to, like... You know, it's not a place you go, it's a place you know. I think she went to some, like, other dimensional place where she's gonna have to, like... You know what I mean? This is kind of like the verification stage. It's like she's done an action, and now she's being brought to the, are you sure you want to do this? Check yes, check no. And that's where she's gonna get this kind of final, like, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you actually want to do this. And I think that's where RWBY will have to make that final decision, because there's still dialogue from the trailer with the blacksmith that hasn't been brought up yet, which plays into this whole Ascension thing that she's decided for herself. So no, she didn't go to Remnant. She went to the tree. It's just a matter of what happens next. Does she verify this Ascension process? As for the cat is trying to get to Remnant. I don't know if the cat knows even what happens when they get to the tree, so it's kind of all up in the air. Can Alex's brother be Oz? I actually think that's we talked about this a couple chapters ago, but I think that would be a very interesting prospect because, you know, we know Ozpin reincarnates into like-minded souls, and you know, him reincarnating into a young boy like Lewis would be understandable because he did the same thing with Oscar, and that would give him understanding of Lewis's memories of the ever after to be able to write the story himself or whatever the case might be, or to relay it even now, you know, to Oscar and stuff like that, as, you know, their souls merge as well. So it's very possible. But his name isn't Luaz. Well, the thing is, like, Lewis's name not being like an Oz reference is kind of fine because, like, we don't know their last names. You know, I don't know. I know like Oscar, Ozpin, but I don't think every character has to be like have an Oz rendition of their name. Yeah. Could also be Lewis. No, it's spelled Lewis after Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland. So I'm pretty sure Eddie confirmed that. So we know how his name is spelled. Anyways, long story short, this part was completely foul. It's like, and some people I talked to in the Discord, in my Discord about this, like mention like the significance of all of these characters. Like, oh, why is Lionheart there? Like, I feel like Lionheart and Clover are the characters that are outed by most people when it comes to why are they there. We know why the other characters are there, but why? And the reality is, like, all of these characters have died over the course of RWBY and company's journey to obtain the relics and stop Salem. Ozpin died at Beacon. Penny died at Beacon, and then again protecting everybody in Atlas. Pira died defending, like protecting everybody from Beacon. Lionheart died, like, and that's how they secured the first relic. You know, Ironwood died trying his best in the ways that he thought to do what's best for Atlas. And so, like, and Clover also died as a means because of Team RWBY and company challenging Ironwood, which put them on that wanted list, and the events that transpired was a result of that. Every character's death was tangibly linked to Team RWBY and company's objective of securing or protecting or safeguarding Salem from getting the relics. So, you know, and these are all like headmasters and close friends and defenders. So you know, and they're more significant than like Dee and Dudley, or unfortunately, you know, Forrest, or, you know, some random side character. So yeah. Why isn't Hazel there? I mean, let me think about that, actually. From Neo's perspective, does Neo know that Hazel's dead? Number one, and number two, like the significance there just isn't there for Ruby Rose in particular. Like, if this was Emerald that was here and this was happening, maybe Hazel would have affected her more. But like, but yeah, like Hazel has nothing to do with, like, Ruby wasn't even there when Hazel died. Like, Ruby was like back in Atlas with everybody else. So it's not just any particular, like, it's a death that's significant. But yeah, I just got here and I'm lost. Hello, Tina. Welcome to the stream. We're just getting into, or we're kind of going through the conversation of chapter 8. But glad you could be. Yeah, someone was just asking like the significance of characters, like the dead characters at the tea party. Which I feel like Torchwick was more of like the Mad Hatter role here, which I loved, like him walking on the table, stepping on the teacup and the tea set. I loved that. That was so Mad Hatter vibes. Also, he's got red hair. So at least for the Johnny Depp, Mad Hatter, I feel like that was very spot on. So I really liked how that played out. Let's see. I find time travel neat. So when Team RWBY landed in the Ever After, there are two Jeans, but one that's old and one that's about to go back in time. Yeah, like the whole time, like realistically, yeah, like Jean, that creates kind of like a paradox because like the Jean that falls would eventually like, I guess, disappear when his current self lands to fill that same role. You know, because there couldn't be two Jeans in the same place at once. There was always one Jean, but the time manipulation created two timelines where there was one Jean before and then another Jean after. And then when they intersect, they become like one and the same. Yeah, it's super confusing. But it also kind of makes sense. Mickey Dozer, thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm so excited for tomorrow. I think RWBY will ascend into Summer Rose or a RWBY version of her, like what RWBY would like to, or she realized she would rather be her. I don't know. I mean, that is interesting. That is possible. Uh-oh. Can you guys still see me and hear me? OBS just kind of hiccuped real quick. Let me know if you guys can still see and hear me. Okay, you can? Okay, good. My gosh, OBS is literally not having it. I feel like OBS and me are both sick. Like, Jesus. But no, I actually think I mentioned that one week. I was like, would RWBY ascend to be Summer Rose? But I feel like, I don't know how that would play out. But like, if she ascended to be a, like she ascends to a version of herself based on her mother. So she uses her mother as a blueprint for what she wants to be, and then she ascends to become that. And with that, I just don't know how it would work in terms of her memories, because apparently you lose your memories when you ascend. So I don't know if that would necessarily be a good thing to impose on her, because it's like you basically have this blank slate character. You know what I mean? If she retains her memories, but then again, it's kind of like, it also makes me wonder, like, what's the significance of her as, like, I don't know. I feel like it has to be more than just a simple ascension. Like, I don't want the ascension to fix her problems. I want her to fix her problems. Or work through them at the very least.
We're not here for
Whoa! Hold on, William Pendragon, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. I apologize, I'm dying. I'm about to see you there at the pearly gates. No words to describe the shock, the despair, the heartache. We here in the afterlife all hope for Miss Rose's survival. My fellow soldiers and I wish you a steady recovery. Wish you a steady recovery. Well wishes from all of us. This has been the ghost of Private William Pendragon of the 31st. Damn, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, every cough, man, brings me closer. I'm just like, dude, I feel like death incarnate right now, and not in the good way. It's just, I'm sweating, I'm coughing, my whole body aches. I'm thirsty all the time. This is so inconvenient to my daily life. But I appreciate the well wishes. I appreciate the generous support, and I hope you're I hope you're fighting the good fight there in the afterlife, or living your best afterlife. Let's see. Jack Rex, thank you for the $5.50 super chat. Leo's aura was broken by RWBY. Clover got his order because of her warning. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah. RWBY was RWBY broke Leo's aura, which led to him dying, like, which was basically, I mean, I feel like he would have died either way, but like that's RWBY's contribution to Leo dying. And yeah, Clover put out the order because of RWBY's warning. Yeah, that was, I mentioned that earlier. But yeah, yeah, I mean, Leo was also kind of like the bad guy in that sense, so what did you want her to do? You know what I mean? This man got a bunch of huntsmen and huntresses killed for free by Salem because he just kind of crumbled under pressure from Salem, and then she killed him anyway. It's like, bro, that was always gonna be that was always what was gonna happen. So yeah, but I mean, it works out in Neo's favor now. Like, she's weaponizing that fact. Shock Stormwing, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Does everyone in the Tea Party of the Dead have green eyes? Thanks for facilitating these cool discussions. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, so Torchwick has green eyes. Pira, hold on. No, they don't. Penny does. Pira does. Ironwood doesn't. I think most of them do. I think Clover does. I don't think Leo does. And Ozpin has like green clothes. A lot of green going on here. What is 07? That is the salute. The 7 is like your hand. Like the 7, like 7. And then the 0 is your head. So it's a salute emoticon. Now you probably cannot, you'll never be able to unsee it now if you didn't know, now you know. Or it's O. It's like the letter O and then 7. Yeah, it's literally the salute. Yeah, that's some good old online culture for you. Really quick, I kind of just want to do like a little quality check. How does everything look? How does everything sound? I am sweating something fierce right now. God, man, I will say my body is less achy now. I'm not even kidding. I actually think doing this live stream is making me feel better. Because before, it was just kind of like, I'm just going to sit here and wait till I feel better. But I feel like because I'm, like, doing stuff, I feel like it's, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like a little better now. The live stream has the placebo effect. Oh, boy. All right. Audio's a little choppy. Oh, no. Oh, wait, you probably... I probably know why. Hold on, give me a second. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, if anybody's having audio issues, maybe refresh. Potentially? You seem a lot better than you were at the beginning. At the beginning, I was literally struggling. It's too loud? Like me? Am I too loud? You can lower your mic, your audio, maybe. Okay. Let us carry on, though. Also, again, Mary Fan, thank you for the $10, the $10 donation. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Is Arnold sick? Like you wouldn't believe. Okay. Oh, wait, can you guys hear my air conditioner in the background? That might be what some people are picking up. That's surprising. Usually it doesn't get picked up by the audio. I can, but it's faint? Really? I see. It's only when you're not talking. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to potentially fix that because, like, with the heat getting crazier, I feel like that's going to... I can hear it when it's silent. Okay. All right. I'll probably have to do something about that after the stream then. All right. Let's carry on. Let's see. AC Coon. All right. So shout out to Little here. Also, hold on. Why is this not playing? Wait, was this a... Hold on. All right, there we go. I don't know why that image was still like that. But yeah, Little is a pretty big MVP here. Given the fact that they followed RWBY despite her, like, just shouting at them unjustifiably. The true MVP. If it wasn't for Little, things would have been a lot worse for RWBY's situation. She wouldn't have even had the opportunity to ascend over the fact of the cat being able to take over the perfect host that they were looking for to go back to Remnant. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, I'm back. Chair-kun is blocked. Hey, what do you want from me? All right, you here for me or are you here for the chair? All right, who's providing you with the high-quality content here? I swear to God, if you say the chair, I'm leaving the I'm ending stream right now. The chair, of course. Ain't no way, bro. Yeah, look at that. You think you know your own community. Come on, man. There's got to be one person in here that says me. Where is it? I know they're in here somewhere. Come on out. You don't have to be shy. I believe. All right, there we go. That's what I thought. All right. That's what I thought. Where were you? What took you so long? It's about damn time. Anyways. All right, let me not get ahead of myself here. I'm like literally, this might be my last freaking stream. Cabra Cadabra. Like abracadabra. This is unlikely, but it would be cool if the ascended RWBY is the warrior she wanted to be. Only instead of replacing RWBY Prime, she takes the wheel while the RWBY Prime rests while she's ready. Until she's ready. I just don't know because, like, they have to leave this ever after. And based on the intro, like how like the storybook gets burned, I don't know if the Ever After will be accessible after they leave. Like, I actually think that there's a chance that not the Ever After will be destroyed. I mean, that could be a possibility too. But like, I feel like if they leave here, they won't be back for some time. If they end up addressing and talking about certain aspects of the Ever After, like the cat and the gods and stuff like that. But it would be interesting. Like, I know you said it's unlikely, but I still like the idea of potentially, like, thinking about it. Mary Fan, thank you for the $10 super chat. What it do? I'm gonna donate to AC Kun for now on. Well, I guess AC Kun will only be getting these super chats during the summer season. Gil Almighty. Could it be possible that the creators the cat mentioned are the god of light and darkness? I'm not going to jump too far ahead, but we'll talk about that when we get to that point. Yeah, for anyone joining, I am sick today. It's not a very cash money kind of day for your boy. So I'm just trying to make it through this stream as best I can. I didn't want to not do the stream, you know. Thank God I switched my streams to Friday, because I wouldn't have been able to do the stream yesterday. It was so bad yesterday. All right, let us carry on here. So yeah, again, Little, complete MVP. The fact that they tailed RWBY. Unfortunate what followed after, but still, I think it's, you know, it just goes to show their character and just like the impact they've had on the volume thus far with everything they've done. So obviously they bring up the concept of the tree, or the leaf of the tree, I should say. And it's again, it's super creative how there's multiple ways of ascending. You could smoke the leaf, you could drink it, you could probably eat it. Like, there's just, it's just very interesting, the creativity that they went to express, like, if there's ever a point where you're just not doing your job, the tree will just, you can call to the tree. You know, you could fucking pretend like the paper pleasers, you could die. You know, you could smoke it. But yeah, some people mentioned that early on, that like the color of the leaf was the same color of the tea that, like, or I think like the drop of the tea that that like Neo had in the intro. But the thing was, she was presenting it to RWBY. Can I bake it? I mean, there's a cake acre, so I wouldn't be surprised if you could. But yeah, Neo really understands the cruelty that comes from like a satisfying defeat, right? In her mind, she's like, it's too forgiving to just kill you outright. The best thing I could do is make you suffer and make you want to take matters into your own hands, which is so fucking next level, like, atrocity. But for her as a character, I feel like I don't think there's been like many characters who have kind of expressed that level of deviousness, I would say. I also love how Neo was talking through the characters, and that's something we mentioned last discussion. I remember mentioning like someone asked, would Neo talk in this volume? And I I responded to them by saying, like, Neo knows what all of these characters sound like when they normally talk. So it would make sense for her to project her thoughts with them being the mouthpieces, but Neo herself not talking. I thought it was really cool because, like, that was pretty much what was expressed here when she was like, I'm gonna enjoy watching you break. And she's talking through all of them, which is also, like, equally creepy as hell. But, it was just super creative to just see how that all kind of, how it just worked really well. And, obviously the dynamic duo, Neo and Roman, you know, they're very, theatric, like Neo attacking, Roman assisting, and then catching each other, the clapping, the applause, like, I don't know, they're just so good. They're just so entertaining. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed, yeah, the very stage performance-esque. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, like, Neo Neo has done more to RWBY than I think any other like, Neo literally is the definition of, and I took that personally. Like, Roman died and she took it so personally that, like, she projected that to RWBY of all characters, because, you know, it's easy to just point the finger at RWBY instead of really looking at the situation itself. Like, why was Roman in that predicament to begin with? It was because of Cinder. And Cinder doesn't give a shit about her anyway, but I guess Neo's like, you know what? I'm gonna get mine, and that's all that matters. Let's see. But yeah, so this whole interaction, this initial experience of just seeing Roman, seeing Neo, seeing all the dead characters at, like, a death freaking tea party, it was just, like, next level. I feel like this was, like, the closest thing to, like, Alice in Wonderland, like the original story, like the darker aspect of it, you know. And I don't know, I just thought everything worked really well with Torchwick being back, and the spectacle of it all was really entertaining. Meanwhile, back with the gang, I kind of wish we got more out of this. Like, I mean, they're expressing their own frustration with RWBY, but, like, I kind of wish they reflected more on what RWBY said and how it applied to each one of them. Like Yang being upset is understandable, but at the same time, I don't, like, I thought that they would, I mean, I understand there's only so much time, but, like, I really wish that they all kind of, like, looked in the mirror in terms of, like, was anything that RWBY said wrong, or like not true, you know? Like, I kind of wish we got a little bit, like, this part was the part that I was actually looking forward to before I knew that Neo and Torchwick were around. And, yeah. I will say this, though, and I was talking about the runtime earlier, they did a lot with 16 minutes. Technically, the episode runtime, I think, was 16 minutes, but with the intro and outro, that's about 14 minutes of just episode time. They did a lot with such little time. So I'm not, like, discrediting, like, the fact that, like, they worked with what they had. It's just moments like that when you have to think about time constraints and potentially cutting some things. Like, who's to say they didn't have stuff in this episode that was cut because of constraints or whatever the case might be. And despite that, I still think that they did really great with what they had. Don't know if you saw what I wrote in the Discord yesterday, but it was a great parallel, her conversation with Weiss about Blake back in Volume 5. Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. And Weiss is the one here kind of reiterating to them, like, hey, like, we put a lot of pressure on RWBY in ways that we don't even, like, think back on. You know what I mean? And RWBY's also the youngest one. I know that that's probably, like, at this point, it's like, oh, well, you know, why does that matter? Like, as a leader and as someone who's still gone through these situations, like, these are the characters who are a bit more mature and a bit more, I don't know, like, I feel like they can take a hit a little bit better than RWBY can in terms of, like, like the mental and emotional buildup of things that affect them. And like RWBY at this point is just kind of like, she's lashing out, but it's not in the healthiest way possible. Weiss the Wise. Yeah. And Weiss is her teammate too. That kind of makes sense too, for Weiss to be the one to like express how it must feel for RWBY. That she feels like she can't even talk to her own team because, like, y'all, by comparison, like, RWBY looking at herself and looking at her team, y'all are in a much better headspace than she is. So how could you even relate or, like, understand what she's going through?
You called me
Especially
friend.
because
Am I really your
they don't know what it's like to be a leader. You know? That's another thing, too. Like, they probably would fare pretty well if given the opportunity, but that burden doesn't fall on them as much as it falls on RWBY. And Weiss expresses that as well. Yeah, and we talked about this too. I've talked about this over the course of the week, but like, RWBY may have not have been the best decision to be a team leader at the beginning when Ozpin chose her, but she definitely had all of the quality. Like, looking at her, Ozpin definitely saw the potential for greatness. And it was up to RWBY to kind of, you know, like the episode, The Badge and the Burden, like that was also the episode that kind of, Ozpin was kind of like giving her those words of wisdom at that time too, which was like, if you are not performing at your absolute best, then what reason do you give others to follow you? You know? And so when you think about that and you apply it to here, where they're all saying, we believe in you, we count on you, we can trust you, and you have all of these things like weighing on her, and she's also in a position where her teammates can't really relate to. It is going to create that disconnect if they don't communicate, like, or try to talk to her about stuff like that. Yeah. I think RWBY definitely stepped up as a leader, but there's only so much that one person can take. And also, you have to think about the scenario too. RWBY, like, the situation is pushing the narrative that RWBY is the reason why everything has gone wrong. Like, right, that's like what Neo is kind of pushing on her, is like, everything that has happened in her journey ever since Beacon to now has been her fault. Pira dying, Penny dying multiple times, Ozpin, the relics being like, and that's simply not true. But like, for her perspective, like, for her in that moment, it would be completely understandable for her to give into that notion, because she's at her absolute lowest. you know? And I think volume 8 and 9 was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, because there was such high stakes in that entire confrontation. And like the villains villained, and they did it well. And it didn't help that the heroes were, or like the protagonists were, butting heads amongst themselves. And there was a bunch of emotions, and there was a bunch of like minor affairs that were happening that was kind of like driving a wedge between things that were going on. And like, despite anyone wanting to admit it, Ironwood in that instance was also his own worst enemy. And Salem knew and fed into that. So Ironwood devolving into himself and becoming the thing, like becoming a worse version of himself, a person stripped of humanity and being only a logic-based, like literal Tin Man emotionless robot, is just as bad as a person with, it's just as bad as a monster who will literally think about things from a completely objective, logic-based, zeros and ones, black and white perspective. And, you know, I think that worked well with everybody. Like, I think the beauty of the headmasters being flawed characters works for the story, because Ozpin didn't put his faith in completely infallible people. Look at Lionheart. Ironwood, they set up Ironwood's whole like demeanor and like his internal like just who he is internally, and like the flaws that he's had ever since volume 2 when he was first introduced. And the fact that they cranked it up even more when the pressure was cooking, to where he had to become the enemy of the hero, of the protagonist, the main characters, was also a hurdle that they felt like they had to surpass in order to do what was best for everybody. Leo was a coward, but he wasn't always a coward. And Ozpin also mentioned that. Ironwood could handle the pressure, but that was before he found out that Salem couldn't be killed. Like, the situation changed completely when presented with new information. Ironwood, like, Lionheart wasn't a coward before Salem. Ironwood wasn't a coward, like, wasn't crumbling under pressure before realizing the gravity of, like, what they were fighting against. And, like, those things really kind of, kind of undid them. You know? And that's Salem's whole thing. Like, Salem's whole thing is just kind of letting the protagonists undo themselves, because they're thinking too much. They're in their own head. And that's what leads to this division. It's what leads to uncertainty, second guessing, and just feeling like the only person you can trust is yourself. And if you lend that trust to somebody else, that's a risk that you're not willing to take. And that is pretty much Ironwood in a nutshell. He wasn't willing to take the risk of trusting other people. And that is what led to him kind of devolving. You know? And I feel like volume 7 and 8 was like the straw that broke the camel's back for RWBY as well, because this is all kind of piling up on her, because it was a plan that she came up with that affected everybody, you know? And that was also a risk, and that was a risk that everyone was willing to take, but none of these characters are equipped. And this is where I was talking about, like, the maturity level with RWBY. Like, none of these characters are really equipped to know how to deal with failure on this colossal level. And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, when's the last time any of these characters, like, these, like, world leader level failing? You know? And so, like, that's why it feels so overwhelming, because it's like, you know, this is like the first real failure that is kind of eating away and undoing her as a character. So, you know, Ozpin has had years to succeed and fail. Ironwood, given the fact that he's worked up to where he's been, and even like his body, like, I'm sure he's pushed himself through failure after failure, and he's learned from being, like, he has been conditioned to not trust people, or to trust his judgment over someone else's, based on whatever life experiences led him to feel that way. We don't know, unfortunately, but yeah. It's the situation of like RWBY and like her crumbling under all of this pressure, I feel is very telegraphed. And I feel like volume 7 and 8 technically, because you know this is kind of like the 3-course volume like arc of all of this stuff happening, and we're kind of leading to a finale of or a resolution before Vacuo, so it kind of makes sense, at least to me. Okay, you guys are gonna lose me for a little bit here because oh, we have to unpack this, bro. This is not it, Chief. I would never have imagined in a million years that Ruby's fighting her inner, like, this is like her fighting her inner demons. It's like, the gang's all here, but at what cost? You know? And I would like to remind everybody, these are not the actual characters saying these things, but it's kind of crazy to hear these characters say these things to her, because it's like the complete antithesis of who they are. Like, none of these maybe Ironwood, you know, maybe Ironwood would actually say this type of shit, like, in his, you know, at his worst, but like, that was the wild factor for me. I didn't know whether to be hyped and excited to see Pira in the Maya engine, or crushed and terrified by the fact that she's beating the living shit out of RWBY and like saying all of this crazy shit. Like, I was truly like conflicted. I was like, bro, I want to be hyped, but like, this is not good. But yeah, like, and like RWBY's just 1v6? You know, 1v6, oh, maybe 1v8 technically with Torchwick there and Neo, but like Neo's doing all of this shit, but yeah, this was definitely like OP, unfair, rigged from the start, kid. But yeah, Pira mentions, I was the best and brightest that Beacon had to offer, but I traded my life so that my friends could live. Which isn't exactly what happened, but Neo is presenting it in a way to just, again, further fuel the guilt of... Like, RWBY also saw Pira die. So that just makes things a bajillion times worse, to just be like... Yeah, this person that I saw die defending and protecting the kingdom the best way she could is now blaming me. You know, and like, it feels real. This is like a real hallucination-esque situation. The attacks hurt, they feel, you know what I mean? It's as real as it gets. The Penny situation was heartbreaking as well, given the fact that she just died officially last volume. And if you notice, this is human Penny, not robot Penny, you know? And she mentions too, like, oh, you know, do you know how it feels to be killed at the Vital Festival tournament because you weren't able to save me there? And then I get resurrected as a robot and then turned into a real girl and then killed again. And both times you're not there to save me, even though you meant the world to me. Like, that's diabolical shit right there, bro. Like, Neo's like next level, like next level villainy. Yeah, I Nuts and Dolts shippers and Rose Garden shippers are in shambles this episode, bro. Like, Ruby was like, I bet we got something for you. I don't know about anybody else. This might sound a little odd to say, but I think the worst thing about this entire situation is that RWBY gets uppercutted by Ironwood. Like, I feel like that's the worst. Like, I feel like I felt that when I saw that for the first time. I was like, bro, this is literally getting out of hand. Like Ironwood against RWBY, and she's just like clawing at the walls, trying to like just trying to have a minute to breathe, and Ironwood just comes in with the freaking rib cage uppercut, like with his metal arm at that. I'm like, bro, that's too far. It's so like, I'm like, bro, I'm surprised he didn't just kill her right there, especially without her aura. You know, I was expecting like some like this. You guys ever see like the Mortal Kombat 10 like the visual like skeletal fatalities? Like I was expecting some type of shit like that where you just get like a close-up version of Ruby's ribcage shattering into a million pieces. And I'm like, bro, yeah, the X-ray attacks. Yeah, I don't know what they were called, but I've seen like compilations of them in the past. Yeah, someone make that. Someone's about to make that clip. Yeah, and Ozpin, I love Shannon McCall. Like, I miss this Ozpin so much. But at the same time, again, it feels so weird just seeing him beat the shit out of the same person that he admitted into his school 2 years before she was ready, and now turns around and says, "You're not cut out for this, kid." Oh, it's so, yeah, it's so visceral, dude. It's like, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, is this what it takes for character development? I'm like, bro, like, damn, like, RWBY better get the biggest glow up after this volume if this is what it took. If this, like, I don't know, man. But yeah, Shannon did a phenomenal job with Ozpin's voice acting here. I feel like I've been, like, well, not I feel like, but, like, ever since Volume 4, we've pretty much only have gotten, like, Aaron Dismuke, basically portraying Ozpin, like, the voices and, like, the mannerisms of Oz. So it's just so good to hear Shannon talking as old. Like, this will always be... Also, everyone's in the Maya engine, by the way. I don't know if I talked about that earlier, but, like, I fucking love that shit. Pira, Ozpin, like, I think at least them two. And Torchwick, of course. Like, Torchwick, Ozpin, and Pira in the Maya engine is, like, the freaking gift from God himself. It's so good, man. And just seeing them, I wish it was under better circumstances. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I would really hope that we get to see these actual characters in some way, shape, or form. And we know the afterlife exists. I'm not saying that we need to get like a death afterlife sequence to see our beloved dead characters, but like, I would love to see this Ozpin in the Maya engine not beating the shit out of RWBY and screaming at the top of his lungs how, you know, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, Ruby Rose? You know, it's like, I know that's not the real Oz, and I don't want that to be like peak Ozpin, you know, in his like best look ever, you know. But I was torn between being hyped and being shocked this episode, because like they gave us all of these awesome superficial aesthetic things like Pira, Ozpin, and Torchwick in the Maya engine. But then I'm like, bro, I don't know if I should be hyped right now. Ruby's getting the blood freaking knocked out of her. So, yeah, and then the freaking Neo gives her the okey doke, and they were like, oh yeah, Ozpin is actually Oscar now, so if you attack Ozpin, you're actually attacking Oscar. And that's another ship that's in shambles this week. You know, I tweeted out, Oscar Protection Squad, you're fired. And I actually got a lot of responses. A bunch of people were like, we didn't know he was gonna be in this episode, okay? We didn't know he was gonna be in this volume. Give us a break. But yeah, it was. I mean, when is an Oscar getting the freaking? When is an Oscar getting the short, the freaking the short end of the stick? Am I right? And yeah, it's like, damn, now Ruby's like, and now Neo's like projecting like, oh yeah, what happens if you, like, you're getting your friends killed? So much so that you're killing them. It's not even, like, it's not the enemy. It's not the Grim. It's not Salem. It's not Cinder. It's all Ruby's fault. And I'm just like, bruh. And like, Ruby's just like psychological manipulation, psychological warfare, the likes we've never seen. And like, on a character who is not very well equipped to handle this kind of assault. Like RWBY wants, you know, if you wanna go toe to toe, like fighting, you know, fist to crescent rows, maybe RWBY will have a chance. Maybe she would stand a better chance without her, you know, with her semblance and everything. But I don't know, man. Like, and it's the Ever After, which plays tricks on you in and of itself. But yeah, so all of this was just kind of like overwhelming. And here's another thing too that I want to express here. I've seen so many gifs of Pira twirling on her freaking weapon in that one shot where she's fighting RWBY. Like, people have been having a field day with this chapter, like almost immediately after the episode came out. Oh, actually, hold on. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Damn. I love how I left you guys on just like a RWBY assault fest. And I had to go and grab something for the discussion when we get a little bit further, but I also had to use the restroom because I've gone through like 2 bottles of water already. Okay, so yeah, it sucks. The action was pretty great. I also love the little effect of like the purple like little like sparks that you see. Like, you can see it when Pira, like, throws her javelin up at the, or she throws her spear up at the chandelier, or when Penny's swords, like, hit the floor, or any type of collision with RWBY. You see, like, the little pink sparks, which kind of emphasize, like, Neo's influence. I really like that as well. I think that's, like, really, really cool. But for those of you who didn't notice, obviously, there are some parallels here. We got some, we have some comparisons that I couldn't help but notice. So, you know, Pira doing the same type of like javelin approach here. I actually think they'll line up. Yeah, eventually they'll line up and they'll both throw the javelin at the same time. But yeah, Ozpin hitting RWBY with his cane is like Torchwick hitting RWBY, you know? And, you know, it's the past coming back to haunt her. It's the Beacon Arc days meets the Ever After days. Oh yeah, I think right here they're going to throw him. Ah, damn it. It's so close. They will eventually, I think... The loop will be enough to where they will both throw the javelin at the same time. I don't know if or when it'll happen, but if I wait long enough, I think it will happen. But yeah, I noticed that, and I was just like, I noticed this after the fact. I was like, oh my god, this isn't the first time Ruby's been beaten over the beaten over the head with a cane. And then they did the exact same, you know, the exact same animation with Pira, which I thought was really chef's kiss, if you will. But yeah. Yeah, I think old Pira takes it. Yeah, I know. I kept it a little longer than I probably should have. I lined it up yesterday where it actually kind of worked out. But it is what it is though. Just wanted to show the parallel in case you guys didn't notice it from like volume 1 to 9 and then volume 3 to 9. I thought that was really, really good. All right, hold on. We'll try one more. We'll see if they can match up right here. Hold on, this might be it. Hold on, this might be it. Yeah. Okay, you know what? I'm taking that. Okay, that's as good as it's gonna get. They practically threw it at the same time. I knew if we waited long enough, it would work out. And okay, you know what? That one was perfect. Okay, we can finally move on. I can finally move on with my life. We don't have to wake up in a cold sweat and be like, oh my god, if only we waited a little bit longer, Pira would have been able to throw her javelin at the same time. Finally. That actually would have, like, eaten me alive. So trauma. Death. As if Oscar hasn't been dealt a shitty enough hand as it is. They actually show this kid in a pool of his own blood. Death stare, like freaking no life in his eyes. Like, I was shocked that they did this. Like, and the worst thing too, and I wrote this down right here just so I made sure I mentioned it. If you didn't notice, in this transitional shot right here, Neo turns Clover into Crow. Let that settle for a second there. Neo turns Clover into Crow. She turns Leo into Blake, which I guess is like Faunus to Faunus. She turns Ironwood into Weiss, which is, you know, Atlas folk gotta stick together. And she turns Pira into Jean. If, just to twist the knife if it wasn't bad enough already. Like, bruh. Like, RWBY was on something different this volume. I can't, bro, I'll be honest with you. If I worked at RWBY, I'd probably have to stop. I'd probably have to, like, resign from my job. Because there's no way I'd be able to. I feel like I would, but I would literally be fighting every fiber of my being to not tell people about what I was working on. I know that that's probably like a risk, like a risk of some sort. Like if this ever gets, like, it's like, okay, don't hire Arnold, he'll leak everything. But like, bro, I can't imagine what some of the people who worked on the show were thinking. They were like, no wonder they were so excited for people to see the volume thus far. Yeah, especially Aaron, and they were a fan before they ever worked on RWBY. You know what I mean? And it's just like they got. I actually remember that they read all of volume 9, like the week after they got hired, and bro, like just imagine just freaking binge reading all of the plots of volume 9. Like, bro, my head would explode. And we still have 2 episodes. I don't even know what's gonna happen yet. Jeez, man. But yeah, so I was very shocked about that. Again, the character transformations here, some of them were very significant. Clover to Crow was just a complete, like, that was unnecessary, Neo. You didn't need to do all that. It was already bad enough to see that in volume 7, but you know, Jean turning into Pira turning into Jean. It's also very interesting that Neo gave us old Jean instead of new Jean, so I guess she doesn't know, or maybe she didn't know until this episode that Jean has leveled, like Jean like aged up because I guess he always wore his helmet. So I mean, even up to this point, we only found out about Jean being the rest of the night recently. So I like that attention to detail too, that it's old Jean. And again, it's because it's from Neo's perspective. It's not like Volume 4 where they're like, hold on, how does Emerald know to project Volume 4 outfit RWBY when Cinder hasn't seen that version of her yet? It should have been I'll never forget that, dude. The critic, like, bro, like, people were not letting anything slide, bro. They're like, wait a minute. I can't let this slide. Explain yourselves. And I'm just like, bro, it's just an error. It's not that deep. Or you could be of the camp that people were like, well, you know what? To make it make sense, Tyrion explained in picture-perfect detail the exact ensemble and attire that Ruby Rose was wearing during their fight, and relate it to Emerald with perfect clarity to where she was able to project the perfect outfit design of Volume 4 RWBY to Cinder. And there you go. Easy. I'll never forget that, dude. That's like just one of the that's just one of the things in the community that I'm like, damn, bro, like, really? Photogenic memory gang. Well, it's one thing to be photogenic. It's another thing to be able to relay that to someone with picture perfect clarity to where they understand, I remember, I think I mentioned this a couple of discussions too, but I remember someone did fan art of like Tyrion, like it wasn't like a police interrogation, but it was like Tyrion sitting down explaining like, okay, explain to us what the person looked like. And then he gives a complete perfect description while like Emerald is like drawing out Ruby's Volume 4 outfit and Cinder's just standing behind her, just like looking. I remember someone did artwork of that during Volume 4. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I mean, and then okay, so the transition from here to here with Ruby taking the tea, taking a sip of the tea, gets hit by a blue blast that we've never seen before. And I was like, blue? I thought of the cat and I thought of Alex. I was like, okay, it's one of those two. Don't ask me why I thought it was Alex. At this point, I was willing to accept that anything was going to happen in the episode. Despite me saying that, I could not expect what was about to happen next in the episode. But, I guess that's the nature of expecting not being able to expect the unexpected truth holistically. We got the fucking cat. I can't believe it, dude. Sketchy a Ketchy-kun. I should have known! Like, I was sus of the cat even when he came back here. But what I think worked out really well to kind of subvert my expectations of what his plan was here was that he's been gone for like 3 episodes. So I think episode, let's see, this is episode 8, 7, I think he's been gone for like 2 episodes now. And long enough to where it's like, okay, what the cat doing? You know what I mean? Like, what's the cat up to? If they're not around, something's going on in the background. I have no idea. But simultaneously, it's like the cat just attacked Neo, who is the direct threat to Ruby Rose. So in my head, I saw the cat and I was like, oh my God, it's the cat. And then like half a second later, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I don't know if I should trust the cat just yet, because of the stuff that Jean said before wasn't completely wrong, but they were kind of like gaslighting. And then when the cat was just like, I could be you instead, I was like, oh dear, this ain't it, bruh. The cat was literally gaslighting them in episode 6. He was when he was like, yeah, Alex tricked me just like all of you. And I'm like, bro, you are actually gaslighting them that episode. And you were making Jean out to be, and here's the thing. It was like half truth. Like he was like, oh, Jean's not all there. which was true, but it wasn't true enough to where they should have just completely disregarded anything Jean was saying, right? It's like they worked within the confines of like the situation to kind of play both sides. Like on one end, they were like, Jean's not all there. And he's saying that because truthfully, Jean wasn't all there in terms of like his own perspective and like his emotions, and just him being here for a long time kind of changed him. And they were saying that as a way of being deceptive, while simultaneously playing off like, oh, well, you know, I'm just trying to do what's best for y'all. When the reality is, so you know what's crazy, guys? I'm starting to rethink everything the cat has said up to this point. Like, I actually don't think Alex tricked him. I actually think he did something to her. Because when you look at, like, remember what he said when in the episode, Blake says, well, Alex learned her lesson though, didn't she? And the cat says, I certainly think so. What did he say? He said, well, I certainly think so, or I certainly hope so. Which kind of, and that was kind of ominous when he said it at the time, like, oh, what is that supposed to mean? And it almost kind of means like, I think she learned her lesson, tee-hee-hee, because only I probably know what happened. And it's ambiguous enough where y'all will just believe, like, you'll think whatever you want to think of it. What I actually think now is that Alex and Lewis were trying to go home and the cat was trying to prevent them from leaving without being able to grab one of them as a host to go back to Remnant themselves. And Alex, being the older sibling, helped her brother get back to Remnant. And as punishment, because she wasn't able to be broken down, right? Because the brother is the younger one, the kinder one, the timid one. She's the more aggressive, abrasive, strong, like confident, cocky one. She's not going to be able to be broken down as much as Lewis. So Lewis could have been seen as a better option for the cat to hostile take over. So what if Alex saved her brother by pushing him through the door to Remnant, preventing him from being taken over, leading him to go on to create a story based on his sister who sacrificed herself to save him, and as punishment, the cat did something to her, potentially like force ascending her into something in the world. Because I feel like the cat, we cannot believe or trust the cat's word on anything at this point. Because even up to this point, that's also the reason why the cat deliberately stopped Herb from like having Ruby have this moment of confliction. Because if Herb let Ruby ascend in that moment, it would have undone all of the cat's efforts to try to continuously push Ruby and wear her down more and more and more. Like, that's why in the episode, that's why in chapter 2, not chapter 2, in that chapter, I think it was chapter 4, I even said, I'm like, I wonder why the cat stopped her, but not like anybody else. Like, why did he have to stop Ruby specifically? You know what I mean? And like, I actually do think that Alex either became the Jabberwocker, or Alex became Little, or Alex became, I mean, becoming Juniper would be pretty interesting too. Because like before, Jean was leading Alex during her journey or her story or whatever. And that's another thing too. Like, I don't know if Jean's story of Lewis and Alex is accurate, because the cat was there through that entire thing too. And the cat was smiling and kind of like being in their own little world whenever Alex did something that challenged Jean or kind of pushed him away. You know what I mean? So in a way, it was like the cat was getting what they wanted back then too. You know? So, yeah, I think it's fantastic. I love the cat, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I think the cat, like, they're an antagonist for sure, but there are some characters that are just great at what they do. And the level of deception that I fell into is what makes me love them so much. Like, they're like, I actually don't know. What would you got? I don't really know. The volume isn't done yet, so I don't want to jump to any conclusions yet, but I'm still kind of like, I'm curious. I actually wonder if the cat might be considered like the best new character of this volume. Like the volume debut character. It's either the cat or it's Little. But yeah, oh my god, man. The cat was great. The cats are great. And they were just kind of like a wild card third-party option, right? Like, Neo is the main threat right now for RWBY. And then the cat comes in. And then you got Neo. Neo's clearly not a cat person. Just fucking smacks the shit out of the cat and goes flying. And I'm just like, what the hell? But yeah, like the reveal, the freaking plot twist that the cat was actually lying. I kind of wonder how everybody who was very much against Jean was feeling after this episode. You know, like, I wonder if there was anybody in the community that was just very much Team Cat. Like, Jean, we can't trust you. Team Cat all day. Because now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that clearly is coming back to bite those people. But, yeah, I'm very fascinated because the cat mentions it's not like other Afterins. He's cursed with curiosity. He needs to know everything, and not he needs to know everything, but more than anything, he needs to know why his makers left him here, only to leave and create all of... And then he gets cut off. I think they confirmed it, which I brought this up after episode 3 when we got the light and dark, like, bridge and, like, that dark realm. I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but I believe they confirmed it in the RWBY roundup, or the roundtable discussion, that the god of light and darkness created the Ever After and made the cat. And so what the cat was going to say there is, I need to know everything, but more than anything, I need to know why my makers left me here, only to leave and make all of you. Which means that the god of light and darkness made the Ever After before Remnant. And they left the cat and all... And what did we say in that discussion? I was like, oh, it's like the Ever After is kind of like a recycling bin where all these, like, fucked up, like, failure experiments go. And then they made Remnant after as, like, their last-ditch effort. And then Salem was like the final straw. They were like, bro, we are not cut out for this shit. Let's just get out of here. So, like, I pretty much called that from, like, I actually called that during episode 1 that this place was created by the gods. And then episode 3 reinforced that when we saw the light and dark bridge and, like, the blue sky and the gold sky. And that gave me big light and darkness vibes as well. So, yeah, the cat is... And another thing, too, it's interesting because the cat almost feels like an allegory to Ozpin, right? Ozpin is cursed with immortality and the curse of being able to unite humanity, which kind of goes against, like, you know, his natural process of just living and you know, like, he has, like, a big burden on his shoulders as a result of that. And the cat's curse is that the question is, who came first? Wait, what do you mean, who came first? Like, they likely made the Ever After first and then the Afterins. But the cat is cursed with curiosity, which in a sense means that they are never able to achieve their purpose, which is to know everything, because there's always something new to discover and something new to learn, which is a curse in of itself, because that means you're never able... The cat is the only thing in the Ever After that will never be able to truly ascend, right? It has the ability to lead others on their path, but he's cursed to always just be... He's never going to be able to go beyond evolve cycle. Ah! Uh-oh. Hold on, give me a second. Oh, are we good? Hold on. Give me 1 second, people. My internet's just not cooperating today. I love how everyone does the salute. Man, I really hope my stream itself isn't like super scuffed for the VOD. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, we're still good. We're still good. Yeah, my internet has the flu too. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. My internet's just not playing ball today. It's a little weird. Damn. Yeah, now I'm cursed with curiosity as to why my internet's acting up. Can you guys hear me and see me well? Hopefully, I know that it's a little... I feel like it's a little shaky at the moment. All right. Windows update, maybe? No, it's definitely OBS, but I just don't... I'm not too sure why that's the case. I just find it very interesting that my internet and I are both under the weather as of right now. Yeah, I'm going to try to update whatever... I'll see if I have any updates, but usually my computer, like, auto-updates for me, so yeah, for, like, it's just... This is just, like, a typical OBS, like, connection error issue. All right. All right, give me 1 second. All right. We might be good now. Yeah, I don't know why, but my yeah, I have no idea why this is happening. It's just unreliable internet today, I'm guessing. At least for streaming, at least. I can't restart the stream because if I do, it'll cut the VOD in half. And we're kind of almost at the tail end of the discussion, and I kind of wouldn't want to do that. Let's see. Keith Taft, thank you for the $15 super chat. I think your reactions between the credits and after credits of episode 11 of volume 3 would be fitting for the events of this episode. Oh yeah. My gosh, that was so long ago, man. Yeah, like just in disbelief. And that was the penultimate chapter at that time. Like, this isn't even the finale episode yet. We still have 2 episodes to go, which is wild. But yeah, I'm wondering how tomorrow's episode is going to leave us off for that kind of finale experience, you know? Because it's kind of like this, the way this episode ends off is going to set up for the finale, which is huge, you know? But yeah, okay. All right, looks like my connection's a little better now, which is good. Okay. But yeah, so just kind of getting back on track with what we were talking about. But yeah, so they did confirm that the cat is a product of the God of Light and Darkness's creation, as is the Ever After, and it predates Remnant. And I was saying that the cat being unable to ascend is based on its curse for curiosity. It needs to know everything. And in its ability to know everything, it now knows that there's this other world that exists that they've never known about, or that they don't know fully. And Team RWBY, like, giving them, like, talking about the stories of the God of Light and Darkness, and talking about the relics, and, like, all of their stories and journeys and stuff like that, giving them their scroll, just opened up a completely new world of curiosity for them that they now are insatiable. They now have to be like, okay, now I need to know about that world. And the only way that that happens is if I can leave here to go there. And the cat basically put 2 and 2 together, was like, oh, if these gods of magic and might created Remnant, created humans, created magic, they must have created us and created the Ever After and left us here purposefully. And I need to know why. Which at that point, that means the cat would also want the 4 relics to be together. So if the cat makes it back to Remnant, they're going to be an immediate ally of Salem's. Now, whether the cat will still have their same curiosity, their same, like, curious nature abilities, like the fact, like, I don't know if this cat will still be able to break itself apart and pop in and out of reality and all that stuff like they are able to in the Ever After, but they are going to be such a enhanced threat in Remnant, and they want to meet their maker. You know, literally, they want to meet their maker, which means they are an immediate fan of Salem's. So that's that's something that they obviously cannot let happen. Not quite there yet, but I wanted to point out that Yang just saw another person close to her make the conscious decision to leave her behind. It's a little different. It's not necessarily abandonment as much as it's RWBY making a choice for herself that is kind of selfish in a way because it affects everybody in her life. But I get what you mean. But yeah, I'm like super fascinated. I don't know if the cat is gonna make it to Remnant. I kind of want it to, because Robbie Daymond will be a mainstay in the main show. And if the cat doesn't make it back, that's just gonna drive them up a fucking wall to know that there's this entire, like, they'll have no other way back to Remnant if this flops. And they're willing to do whatever it takes, even hosting, like, taking over Neo as a host, which means, you know, Neo is also at a risk for potentially dying as well. But I would really want Robbie Daymond to be a mainstay for RWBY, especially. But I just don't know if the cat would have any type of long stay. Like, the cat would literally just fuck off, learn everything about Remnant, and then go to Salem and be like... And how would Salem react to this cat, too? You know what I mean? I feel like the ultimate, like, dub against the cat would be having the cat be trapped in the Ever After, and no matter what they do, their curiosity will never be satiated because they will never be able to know about the world that they know of, which is, you know, being Remnant, unless another person falls into the Ever After. You know? Yo, Gesno, thank you for the $50 super chat, my guy. I appreciate that. Do you think Neo would keep her upgrades back on Remnant because of her because she's super OP now? If she wanted to, she can make full-powered clones of the maidens. I don't think they would work in the same way. Like, I also don't think so. I think the Ever After is what kind of gives her omnipotence in the way that it's had this entire time. It would be neat if her semblance gets a boost, like if she can make multiple clones of herself, but not to the degree like they're doing here. Like, the Ever After is kind of like Neo knows where she is, so she's kind of manipulating. She's kind of like, she has like admin privileges because unlike everybody else here, she actually understands where she is, and so she's able to like take advantage of it. It's not the cat's fault though. I understand that, but the decisions the cat's doing are in and of itself like they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, they're deceiving, they're lying, they're trying to, like, they're deliberately trying to get RWBY. Like, they're pushing RWBY in. Like, I guarantee you the cat knew RWBY was going here and just watched her and just, like, tailed her and, like, waited for her to get to this very moment and then showed up. Like, the cat is not, like, the cat's not being benevolent here, you know? And so it might not be the cat's fault to be cursed with this curiosity and whatnot, but that doesn't give it, that's not an excuse to treat people who fall in here by happenstance as like a commodity for them to get what they want. You know? And he also admitted to using people to satiate his curiosity. So, like, he was being buddy-buddy with them because they were fulfilling his purpose, which is like, oh, you're giving me information? That's fine, that's cool, that's dandy. But now I'm to the point where I want a little bit more, and the only way I'm going to get it is by doing something that you naturally wouldn't agree to, which is take over you or one of your friends and make it to the Ever After. Like, that, you become an enemy at that point. And the worst part about that is if the cat did something with Alex and like Lewis, if something between them happened with Alex and Lewis, then that makes it premeditated, because the second humans were brought up, that's when the cat showed up and knew that it could have a second chance. So I'm not out here trying to give the cat, like, you know, a pass or like feel bad for the cat. You know what I mean? Like, to an extent I do, if you want to see it in the way of like it was created and it's just here. But like, you could say the same thing about humans on Remnant. I don't hear anybody complaining that they exist, you know? The only thing is they have curiosity, which is a level above what every other Afterin has. Like, they are not as simplified, and with that advanced perspective brings their own like internal, like, they're kind of living, like, they're living like, it's like a living hell for them, in a sense. Yeah. What's also very interesting is, I wonder if the cat ever tried to initially, take over Jean. You know, because the cat pretty much like carried on with its life as if Jean didn't exist after a while. And I wonder if it was because it realized that it couldn't break Jean down the way that it wanted to be able to like take over them if they lost their purpose or their heart or whatever, you know? And I'm not saying that the cat ever attempted to try to take over, because at that point Jean would have just told them like straight up, like, this cat tried to possess me, don't trust it. But, like, if the cat had ever done things that put Jean in those stressful, dire situations that, like, led Jean to become more and more, like broken down, like mentally, emotionally, Jean withstood it. And so Jean proved that it wasn't, like, an option for the cat at that point. So, I'm glad that Jean was able to kind of just, like, because Jean wouldn't be Jean anymore. Like, Jean would be gone at that point. Yeah. I mean, Jean was just too in his own head to really let anything affect him, I would say. Like, about Atlas and about the paper pleasers and about the purpose of trying ever so slightly to find a way out of here. Like, Jean was just so busy with his own plans and his own problems that it kind of created that situation where the cat wasn't able to get an inch. Yeah, he's got that mental fortitude too. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, just to reinforce what I said earlier, I actually do think something happened between the cat, Alex, and Lewis. And I'm more in the camp that the cat saw Alex as a candidate. I'm sorry, the cat saw Lewis as a candidate. Alex saw that coming, protected her brother by sending him to Remnant, which meant that, and the cat prevented her from leaving and did something with her as a way of like, as a way of punishing her because it prevented him from getting out of here. Yeah, when you think about it, the paper pleasers came in clutch for Jean, because if the paper pleasers didn't exist as a substitute for Jean to kind of have a purpose in this place, I feel like he would have lost himself long ago, and in a way, the cat would have gotten what they wanted. You know? But that statement that the cat mentions that, like, did Alex learn her lesson? And he says, I certainly think so. Like, that's super sus. Like, it's ambiguous enough to the point where it's like the cat knows what happens, but we don't. And yeah, I do think that the Jabberwocker could very well be a part of that, be like a result of a human ascending, or even force ascending, you know? Also, what's pretty cool too is if you ever look at, I noticed this in the last week, but Juniper and the Jabberwocker are also kind of interesting parallels to the God of Light and the God of Darkness. Juniper saved and brought Jean to the paper pleasers, and the Jabberwocker destroys any Afteran's ability to ascend if it eats them. So it's also kind of interesting that Juniper and the Jabberwocker are kind of like, they almost feel like remnants of the God of Light and Darkness. Their color scheme too, like the white and gold, and then the dark purple shades and hues and whatnot. But yeah. But yeah, I freaking loved the cat. I loved this. Like, at this point, I was really like, I couldn't imagine what was going to happen next before the cat showed up. I thought RWBY was going to drink the tea, completely removed of all this other stuff happening. And then I just didn't know what was going to happen afterwards, especially for Neo. And then the cat showing up just kind of changed everything in my eyes. So moving on from here, again, I would like to reinforce how much of an actual goat Little is. If it wasn't for Little, the cat would have gotten what it wants. The cat would have hosted RWBY right there. And I couldn't believe it, dude. I could not believe that they killed Little. I don't know if it's like they died instantly or if they're on death's doorstep. And the reason I say that is because when RWBY falls into the ever after, Little falls with her, which almost implies that they're both gonna ascend. Which would be interesting too, because if, let's just say Alex did ascend and become Little, and then Little falls back into the ever after, it would be interesting if it's actually, if Little was previously Alex. Because, like, I don't know, I feel like that would just be kind of interesting to just see where things go from there. Like, if Alex and RWBY have like a moment in the ever after verification step of like, do you really want to do this, before choosing to ascend or choosing not to. Where do you see Little? Little literally falls. Little literally falls. Yeah, Little's right next to RWBY when they fall. But yeah, I thought this was great too. Like everyone's just, this is a fucking free-for-all at this point. The cat wants RWBY, Neo wants RWBY, but the cat doesn't want Neo to want RWBY, so the cat's attacking Neo, Neo's attacking the cat. Neo just hates animals, apparently, just smacks the cat, crushes the mouse, and I'm just like, bro, like, what the hell? Also, we did talk about this in my Discord as well, that Lewis's name, about to blow your minds, Lewis's name is spelled Lewis, which is a reference to Lewis Carroll, which is the author of Alice in Wonderland, which is what the Ever After is based on. And Lewis Carroll being an author would make sense if Lewis, Alex's brother, went on to become the author of The Girl Who Fell Through the World. Now, on the flip side, Alice, in the story, or in the fictional work, Alice's last name is Liddell, Liddell. So Liddell, translating to little, being the mouse, would be an interesting parallel if Alex, who is a reference to Alex Little, ascended to become Little. But they, like, RWBY gave that name, of course, but like that's the reference. Yeah, the human that the fictional Alice is based on. Yeah. Yeah, dead Afterins ascend. Afterins ascend if they die, they complete their purpose, or if they lose their way. So Little did die, which means Little is guaranteed ascension. And RWBY drank from the tea, so there's gonna be a 2-for-1 special here, it seems. Yeah. I love how they both fell into the Ever After, too, when you think about it, because Little Red, you know, Little Red Riding Hood, it's like they're both going down together. God, that'd be so fucking badass. But yeah. Little Red. That's how Torchwick like referred to her back in the day. Little Red. You are just determined to be the hero of Vale, aren't you? Yo, Kyle Smith, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Arnold, for once again being an important part of my life. The timing you and the show have has been perfect, especially now. Thank you so much. I wish I wasn't currently dying, but I appreciate the sentiment. And I'm glad that you enjoy the content. Very much. Thank you. Really appreciate that. God, man. Little did not deserve this, man. And Little deserves more than this. Like, there better be a happy ending for this little guy. Or this little Afterin, I should say. Because they literally risked life and limb for RWBY. And then they just get squid. And then Neo has the audacity to, like, just freaking twist her freaking the sole of her freaking shoe in the ground. Like, you made an enemy of the entire fandom when you did that. Like, damn, like, wow, congratulations, Neo. You killed a mouse. You're so freaking cool. Yeah, little fans rise up. We've been oppressed for too long. Is your girlfriend okay after this? She's great. She loved this episode. She's a little worried about how the episode is going to play out after. Like, she's just hoping that Neo lives, but there's no definitive way for her to, like, know for certain if Neo is going to live or die based on the fact that the cat now has control of her. Or what's going to happen to her, really. So, like, I feel like if Neo lives, even if she stays in the Ever After, would be, like, the best possible outcome for her to be happy. Or for her to not just be completely depressed for the next, like, forever. But yeah, a lot of crazy shit happened this episode, man. The thing too, after watching this episode back, it's just like, it's so crazy how much we like, how much of a like the show Little stole from their debut up until this point. Like, Little really grew immediately to become like a loved character. And I don't know if it's because they're an animal and people have an extreme soft spot for creatures, but like, they're just wholesome. They don't do anything wrong. They have never, like, where's the Little merch, Kruby? All right, y'all had merch on the point when Bumblebee got confirmed. I mean, granted, they don't really do merch like that where other characters die. Like, I know that they did merch when Penny died. I don't think they did merch when... they definitely didn't do merch when Ironwood died. But, like, damn, bro. Like, Little deserved merch yesterday. God damn it. Yeah, it was my Little plushie. Yeah, bro, they gave us a Curious Cat shirt when the volume started. That's devious. They're like, yo, here's this character you probably like right now. Hope you don't regret that purchase after chapter 8. Just saying. Like, damn, bro. Zach Feifel, thank you for the $20 super chat. I think RWBY will murder the cat and Neo to prevent the cat from getting back to Remnant, forcing its ascension and resetting its memories. Well, it's hard to say, right? Like, the cat, I mean, you have to remember too, Neo is just a host. So if Neo dies, that doesn't mean the cat dies. That just means the host breaks and the cat, like, is just stuck as itself. The cat can't really do much outside of like this purple blasty thing. But like, I feel like it'll be like another situation. Remember how like Jean was running to the portal in the volume 9 finale and they jumped through and the portal disappeared and he fell? I feel like that might be the similar situation with the cat, where everyone makes it back to Remnant through like a doorway, and as the cat's jumping through to make it through as well, they just get rejected by the door. Like, the door just like disappears in their face or something. Or something like that. But I mean, if anyone dies, it's probably going to be Neo if they are a host for the cat, if they are trying to do, like, if they're trying to take care of them one and the same. But I don't think the cat is going to die. I don't know. I have no fucking clue what's going to happen, to be honest with you. Especially an after-in of his, you know, and the cat isn't like all powerful and all unstoppable. Like, the cat got freaking finessed by Neo's semblance right here, right? And she like just smacked it. So it's not like unstoppable completely, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. So this was the big moment here. Ruby Rose gave into Ascension, which is already a very serious allegory that people in the community are having like serious topics and discussions on. And yeah, Yeah, see, also, someone asked, Little falls with her. Little is right next to the teacup, or like the little teacup plate. So Little and RWBY both fall together. Also, I don't know if anyone else thought of this. But I thought of, hold on. What's the allegory if it's not triggering? The best way I can say it, just trigger warning here, permanent self-harm. That's the best way I can explain the allegory without going all into it. What was I gonna say? I was about to say something and then I read that comment. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. Hold on, let me... Gordon, thank you for the $10 super chat. Appreciate that. Another one bites the dust. Yeah, I mean, this was a... I mean, it also... Like, the allegory exists, but, it's also, to an extent, a matter of perspective. I mean, for RWBY's situation, like, we all know what she's going through, what she's feeling. But the Afterins also see... Like, even the Afterins said that ascending isn't death. It's rebirth. And we don't know what happens when a human particularly ascends. We know what happens when Afterins ascend. And I don't know if the cat was being completely truthful when they said that ascension won't happen to humans because they're not Afterins. I don't know if I can take anything the cat says, like, as truth anymore. But I don't think we've ever seen what happens when a human ascends. And based on RWBY's interaction with the blacksmith and seeing a reflection in that blade, the more the volume has gone on, the more I'm starting to feel like that reflection wasn't RWBY's mom, but actually a version of, like, an ascended version of Ruby Rose. And that could potentially be, the ascension that RWBY strives for. It's not necessarily her dying, it's her kind of... It's hard, though, because it would, in a way, like, her ascending would basically mean she would have to shed all of the stuff that has been ailing her, which is all kind of things that would make her a better person, a better character, through developing and trying her best to work through those struggles. If she's able to relate, if she's able to communicate with her friends, if she's able to understand that despite her being a leader, it's not realistic for her to expect to carry all the baggage, especially for someone who's so inexperienced. Yeah, the thing about the Ascension that's a little off for me is just, like, it could potentially change who she is. Like, it changes her personality, it changes her identity. If she loses her memories, she's essentially no longer Ruby Rose. She is whoever she feels she is when she comes back. And that is a form of, like, if you lose your identity, if you lose who you are, that is a form of... It's not death in the biological sense. It's death of, like, who you are. Like, identity. Which is why it's such a gray area for conversation, because, like, death in death in the ways that it's being expressed through allegory is biological, which that's not necessarily what's happening here with RWBY, but at the same time it's still being taken seriously as, like, you might as well just not, like, you're not, if you're not you, you might as, like, you pretty much never existed at that point, you know? So it's like, it's taking that and just transcending it to mean something different in the ever after. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual death. Yeah, it's a death that's not tangible, which in some cases that is just as important. That's just as important. So it's like half of a, it's one half of the, it's like one side of a coin. It's like you have all the things that physically make you who you are, and then you have all the things that make you who you are that you can't feel, you can't see, you can't hear, you can only express. So yeah, I didn't know it took her memory suit. Yeah, the cat mentioned that they mentioned, would Herb remember us after he ascends, and the cat said, why would that happen? Like, why would he need to do that? So he basically inferred that if you ascend, you lose your memories because you won't need them, because you're essentially somebody else. Let's see. Joseph Fraser, thank you for the $20 super chat. Let's see. The scene broke me. RWBY basically, yep. Yeah, Orange Monkey Eagle is, it is a Rooster Teeth joke, but I get what you mean. Yeah, I mean, the sentiments expressed there as well. I think trigger warnings... I think the trigger warnings and the warnings in general for these episodes are more warranted, because they're tackling topics that they've never really addressed or gotten into in the volume. And like Rooster Teeth knows their audience better than anybody, so it just makes sense for them to be that, to have that level of precaution. But I never thought that they would ever take their characters down this road. Not saying that it's bad. I personally think, to an extent, obviously there's some exceptions, but I don't think anything should be off limits to tell a story on. Again, within reason, like nothing heinous, nothing illegal. But like, even if it's just to bring awareness to it or to just have deeper conversations like this, I don't think the topic is above being expressed in the show if it's there to kind of convey a point, or to convey, an aspect of a character kind of going through stuff, because real people go through this, you know what I mean? And so it's just important to not be exactly against having any of this, like, media being, I guess, not up for discussion, or not up for, creation, I should say. And I think that's why, again, trigger warnings exist for people who don't want to have that kind of stuff be presented to them. Zach Feifel, thank you for the $20 super chat once again. I think RWBY will go through purposeful character regression, becoming the very thing they fought against at the end of Volume 7, and I think that would be a brilliant idea if executed well. Ah, I see. So you think RWBY is going to confront... You think RWBY's going to confront herself? Is that what you're saying? I actually think it would be pretty cool if RWBY has, like, another conversation with her past self. I think that would be... Because, like, that conversation went undone because of the cat. So, like, and if RWBY has enough of a, like, conviction and resolve based on what she just did, and understanding where she is now, and understanding what just happened a little, I don't really know the conversation that she's going to have with the blacksmith, if that's what they're going to do, if that's what this final phase is going to be. If she decides to take up one of those arms and lay hers down. I don't know if that means, like, someone did mention it earlier, like, what if RWBY swaps? Like, what if RWBY needs time, and in that time, she decides to baton pass? You know, we're gonna go Persona for a catchy Kun and for Billy there. But what if she baton passes and takes up that weapon she saw in the blacksmith's like shop, and like just kind of pivots? And while Ruby Rose is developing and building back up to where she feels she can handle things, this newbie, Ruby, who's a newbie, will take her place. Which is the reflection Ruby that was in the blade of that weapon. So, because another thing too, you have to remember, the story says that the girl who fell to the world was no longer the same when she went back home. And that could be figuratively, like she got hardened, she kind of the world changed her, like mentally, emotionally, or it could mean quite literally she is now a different person. So, but that was her mom. There's no confirmation that that was that was Summer Rose. Like, looking at it from that perspective, it makes sense that it would have been. But, like, I think that scene with more episodes can be left up to interpretation now. Like, it could be Summer Rose, or it could be an ascended version of RWBY, who would want to be like her mother. So it could be that as well, you know? I feel like with only that episode, like when we saw it for the first time, it's like, oh, that's Summer. But I feel like it would be a nice misdirection if it wasn't. But yeah, with no confirmation, we can't definitively say that it was or wasn't Summer. We can only say that we think it is. Which I feel like that's much more exciting for discussions and stuff like that. So yeah. Patrick Horn Jr., thank you for the super chat. $20, appreciate that. What if the blacksmith gives her the chance to talk to anyone for help and she decides and chooses to talk to Summer? That would be great. That would be... I wouldn't even know how to react to that. That would be fucking crazy. Or even if it's just like a projection of what her mother would say, even if it's not her actual, like, right, like they were talking to past versions of themselves. It wasn't really themselves from the past. It was like, you know, an apparition playing tricks on them. But I think that would be really cool. First off, if we got to hear what Summer Rose sounds like and see her updated, like, Maya engine model, like actually see a freaking fully fledged model of her, that would be phenomenal. I think that would also be the #1 person that would get through to her as her mom. And we did see a reflection of Summer in the Punderstorm situation. Like, as they were walking through the mirrors, we saw like a reflection of Summer, which is kind of like what ails RWBY at the heart of everything. So, I think that would be really freaking cool. God, man, imagine that. Imagine we get Summer Rose in a volume that people classify as filler. Like, we just... And, like, the writers also said that, too. People think that this volume isn't filler. I mean, people think this volume's filler when the cat's creation and the Ever After's creation is directly confirmed to be a product of the God of Light and Darkness, which has so much more, like, interesting, like, lore implications. So, I don't know. I just find that to be really funny. Zach Feifel, I think more... Oh, wait. Thank you for the super chat. I think more like Ironwood, hardened, cold, stop Sam at all costs mentality. I don't know what you're referring to. Are you saying you think more like Ironwood? Like, you agree with, like, you're more aligned with how he was going about things? I mean, that's valid. It's just like, if you're willing to do whatever it takes at the cost of human lives, you have to also be willing to accept that you're gonna be an enemy to a lot of people, you know? But hey, it is what it is. Oh, he thinks RWBY will choose to be more like Ironwood. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Because it's like... huh. Because then that's kind of like replacing him with another, like... His way of doing things also wasn't, like, when pushed to that point, like, it undid him. So I don't think it was necessarily the best. I would want her to be herself. I don't want her to default to somebody else. That blind kid won. Thank you for the super chat. I would love if RWBY comes back. When RWBY comes back, we get a Red Like Roses Part 3, either for the return itself or the credit song. Yeah, a lot of people were... I've been seeing a few comments on, like, a Red Like Roses like Part 3 thing. Maybe. I mean, that would be kind of cool. But we've seen Heard of Summer 3 times in the volume. We have to see her now. Yeah, exactly. Like, they're kind of pushing it to the point where it's like we need some payoff on that. Especially if Vacuo is going to be something completely removed from all of this internalized development. I feel like, when is the next opportunity to get something like this? You know what I mean? Like RWBY, like, internally talking about things in her life, like her mom and like her, like, where she feels like she's not good enough and stuff like that. Like, you can't really do that with, like, we gotta get the Sword of Destruction and we have to figure out how that freaking relic works and how to keep it out of Salem's hands and everything else in between. But yeah. That would be pretty interesting. I honestly, if we get a Summer Rose reveal before the finale, if we get a Summer Rose reveal in this next episode or the finale, I feel like we could get either a Red Like Roses Part 3 or a, like, Summer Rose song or a Ruby Rose song. If not Red Like Roses, I feel like it would have to be Red Like Roses. But yeah, I feel like this volume is really RWBY's volume. At the end of the day, it's RWBY's volume. Actually, it's pretty much RWBY's volume. Like, the 3 characters that I felt going into this volume were, like, the main priorities was RWBY, Jean, and Neo. I'm surprised that they kind of gave us everything of Neo in one episode, which is kind of shocking. Jean, too. They kind of gave us everything for Jean within 2 episodes, but RWBY has been, like, a slow burn buildup. And is the character that has been the most... what's the word I'm looking for? She's been the most neglected, I would say, in terms of, like being more dynamic than she was when she started out compared to her the rest of her team. So, yeah, when you look at it too, actually, when you look at the end credit song for every volume, Volume 8 was Friend, which was basically a Penny song, which pretty much solidified the volume was about Penny. Volume 7 was Fear, which was pretty much a reflection of Ironwood. Because, like, Volume 7 felt like an Ironwood volume. Volume 6 was Nevermore. I think Volume 6 was Nevermore, which was about Blake, Yang, and Adam. Volume 5 was Volume 5? I don't remember what Volume 5 was. Which one was Armed and Ready? Oh, This Time. Yeah, Volume 5 was This Time, which was kind of like Blake, the White Fang, you know, that entire plot. Volume 4 was Armed and Ready, which was kind of like eh. Volume 3 was Cold, which was, you know, Pira. Volume 2... Oh my god, what was Volume 2's? I don't remember what Volume 2's was. And then Volume 1 was Wings. So I feel like... Yeah, Volume 3 was... Wait, no, hold on. Oh, Volume 3 was Cold and Divide. I forgot. They doubled up on Volume 3. No. Volume 3 was Cold and Divide. They gave us 2 songs, actually. Volume 2 was Sacrifice. Yeah, that's what it was. Which people think that song's about Raven. But I made an AMV about how that song's actually about Salem. Yeah, volume 3 was Cold and Divide. So that song was about Pira and Salem. So like looking at it, they kind of have that based on their track record, they pretty much have to do a volume 9 outro song about RWBY. Because this volume is about RWBY. You know? And so I actually think that I actually think a Red Like Roses Part 3 is like imminent or necessary. And if not Red Like Roses, a RWBY themed song. Track record, LOL, nice one. Wait, why? What does that mean? Did I make a pun? Oh, music tracks, track record. Ah, I see. Yeah, they go over my head sometimes too. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out here just like, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Oh, man. Yeah, the outros kind of encompass the main focal point of the volume, I've noticed, like thinking back on it right now. So yeah, I definitely think that if not Red Like Roses Part 3, which this volume has also given us like little snippets of summer there, here and there, I feel like if it happens, I won't be surprised, but I will be, because it's like, holy shit, we're actually getting this. But I want something RWBY themed, if not Red Like Roses. But I feel like it has to be, because like, what other song are you going to give us for RWBY that's not that? But yeah, we'll see. Or Jean. I don't feel like this volume is as much focused on Jean as it is on RWBY. Like I said, the focus of RWBY has been consistent with damn near every episode. Jean wasn't really a factor until his reveal, and even then, it's kind of waned after the last episode. And now I feel like it's not even going to matter. It's not going to be the focus of the penultimate chapter because RWBY just ascended. And it's not going to be the finale because, like, hopefully they all get out of here. I don't know if Jean is. That's another thing, too. Like, we haven't even really discussed or talked about. But I'm getting a little sidetracked. I do apologize. But Neo doesn't have a purpose anymore. She was very short. She was very... what's the word I'm looking for? Short-sighted. Her only purpose that gave her absolute control over, like, her power, dominion over the ever after, to where the foundations of her mansion are crumbling around her, was killing Ruby Rose. And once that was achieved, I think she realized that even after taking out Ruby, it's not going to make anything better. It's not going to change the fact that now she doesn't have a purpose, and Roman is still dead. You know what I mean? Like, this house was built upon lies, and that's why it's crumbling all around her. She has nothing left. And, you know, and if you look at it too, I find it very interesting how, like, it even kind of seems like Torchwick is a figment of her imagination, because, from one perspective, when they walk in and they see, like, Neo and Ruby, when Neo walks away, like, there's nobody else in that room. It's just Ruby and Neo. But from Neo's perspective, Torchwick's right by her side, like, looking at her, like, you know, like, romantically. And so, like, she's just been playing up this fantasy, and the reality is now hitting her that, like, the only thing she had ever, like, worked towards achieving was... It's happened, and now it kind of leaves her back at square one. Cinder still betrayed her, but, like, in her eyes, she felt like Ruby was the priority. And so now she's kind of stuck in this situation where, like, now she has nothing left. And she's just a husk. And, yeah. So, like, Ruby and Little fell into the Ever After. I assume that means they're both going to ascend. Because if you die, you ascend as an Afterin, and Ruby willingly ascended, so I don't know what's going to happen to both of them from this point, but I'm very interested to see. And then we have the developments with the cat. So, you know, the cat reveals that they clearly need a host to make it back to Remnant. I'm wondering why that's the case, right? Like, Jean speculated that you needed a sacrifice. Like, he speculated that Alex sacrificed Lewis so she can get home. And maybe that's why the cat is doing that, because the cat doesn't know the full story. They're going off of that assumption as well. That, like, oh, I need a sacrifice. I need a host. So I need a human sacrifice, Neo, that I will give to the tree, and then I'll go to Remnant. You know what I mean? So I can only think that that's why they're doing it. Unless it actually wants, like, a human body host to function properly in the in Remnant itself. I don't know if its powers are going to be gone or whatever the case might be. But maybe it's just taking that level of precaution as well. But yeah, I love the quote. I love the quote that Cat says. He says, you still don't get it, do you? It's not a place you go. It's a place you know. I just love that. I love the, I just love the delivery of that line. I think Robbie is in his element as a villain character. Like, I saw him tweet last week. He was like, I think I've only voiced like 2 or 3 villain characters and a handful of good characters, but I'm only ever known as like whenever someone brings me up, they're always like, don't ever trust this guy's voice act, like this guy's character, if they voice in a game or a show or whatever. And he was like, I love that. But like, they excel at being a bad guy, an antagonist. But I thought that was really funny. Because, like, that's my perspective, too. I only know Robbie Damon from 2 performances now. Akechi and The Curious Cat. And so far, this man's 2 for 2 for me. So maybe from here, I don't have to worry, but it's, it ain't looking good, Chief. But yeah, so I think he did a great job with the performance. I am going to be so sad if he doesn't get future opportunities in RWBY. I mean, he kind of solidified himself for Volume 9. Like, the Curious Cat is also a very standout character this volume. You know, I would say it's kind of like, it's like, it's just as much the cat's volume as RWBY's in a sense. You know, because the cat has its own agenda and it's kind of working on that in the long term. And, like, RWBY's also developing in the long term. Avril, welcome. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. I think the cat can't physically leave because he's in the Ever After. Otherwise, he would have left a long time ago since he knows how to get to the tree. But he can leave if... But he can leave... Wait. But he can't leave because his body's not... His body's from the Ever After. Okay, I see what you mean. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's an option. I also wonder if it's, again, like, similar to what I said before and what Jean mentioned, is he needs a sacrifice. And no one is willingly going to sacrifice themselves to the tree so the cat can go to Remnant. But if he can hostile take over their body and sacrifice them on his behalf so he can go, I feel like that's valid too. And similarly to what you said, I don't know if Remnant is going to nerf the cat when he gets to Remnant. If he gets to, if they get to Remnant, I should say. Sorry, if they get to Remnant, because, like, I don't think we've seen anything that's from the Ever After, natively from the Ever After. I guess maybe. Well, I would say the God of Light and Darkness, but they created the place, so they're exempt from that. You know, but then again, Team RWBY, when they went there, they didn't lose access to their semblance. Or, like, I don't know. It's kind of, I don't really know if you necessarily would lose anything. Yeah, Hero Guy 64. I know I can say he. I choose not to. You know. There's nothing wrong with wanting. It's nothing wrong with me making a correction. Alrighty. Can we talk about Yang and how they portrayed her catatonic state at the end of the episode? Yeah, I mean, she's literally watching her sister ascend, which means that, like, from her perspective, she's like, I'm never going to see my sister again. Also, that one shot is a little, I've seen some people criticize the fact that, like, the characters make it through the door or make it through the opening and, like, they just stand there. But I also think, like, from Ruby's perspective, she wasn't fazed by it because she doesn't know if they're hallucinations or real things because Neo's just sent her through the ringer multiple times. Yeah, and the timing is just for dramatic effect. So I didn't linger too much on that. Zach Feifel, thank you for the super chat. I personally believe that the cat is at... Wait. I personally believe that the cat is too much like Salem to make it back to Remnant. I don't think so necessarily, but it's like Salem's objective works towards the cat's objective of wanting an answer from their makers. So if the cat makes it back to Remnant, it's not going to stand in Salem's way. But I don't think that, like, the cat doesn't want to, like, destroy everything and everyone. It just wants to satiate its curiosity. By any means. Yeah. Yeah, he says, I need to know everything, but more than anything. So, above wanting to know everything, he wants to know why the gods left him in the ever after. So, it's going to be really interesting. At this point, they're pretty much setting up that the gods are coming back. Salem is going to get all 4 relics. I don't think this is any surprise. I talked about it a couple years ago. Salem is going to get all 4 relics. She's going to summon the gods back, and whether or not humanity is united against her is one thing, but they are definitely going to have to, like, quote-unquote answer for a lot of stuff. Like, why did you leave the Grim here? And what's up with the Ever After? And that whole cat situation and things. And they don't have to answer to anyone, you know what I mean? Like, they made you. They brought you into this world, they can take you out. But, like, it's very clear to me, at least, that we're gonna get that interaction. And if the gods are true to their word, I wouldn't be surprised if all of humanity dies but Salem, because she still has not learned her lesson. She has not learned the rule that they have literally put in front of her. They literally said, you must understand the importance of life and death, then you can die. But she is doubling down on her stubbornness and her inability to have, like, a moment of introspection. And maybe she's so far gone that she doesn't remember that they ever said that to her, because it's been millions of years. I don't know. But yeah, I think that they're... And if she does learn her lesson, hopefully they can Uno reverse their decision to wipe everyone out, if that's in fact what they do, to teach her lesson. But we'll have to wait and see. Little plus Ruby equals Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah, we actually mentioned that earlier, Lara. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. I can't believe the cat Norded Neo. Oh, God. Jeez, the Kingdom Hearts references are coming in full force. That's funny. Thank you, Lara, for the super chat. Thank you again, Blind Kid. Appreciate it. Bacon Blitz, thank you for the super chat. Do you think the cat will escape? Neo versus Salem versus the cat, please. No, I think if the cat already knows about the entire plot with Salem. The cat knows that the cat knows that they're trying to get all 4 relics. They're trying to bring back the gods. The cat would only work in Salem's favor. Which, if the cat makes it out of here, that could be a good thing, because Salem is down to just Cinder, Tyrion, and Mercury now. And Mercury's a little, like right now he's like, I'm all about this life, but I expect him, or I expect Emerald to try to get through to him for him to not just go down that route. So like Cinder's forces got completely like bodied for the staff, right? Her whale, all of her other Grimm that were on, like that took a lot of time to manifest and develop. What was it? I think it was volume. Hold on, let me think about that. If you want something done right, then do it yourself. I think that was the volume 6 finale when she started like mutating her Grimm. So it was months before she actually made it to Atlas. So that took her a bit of time. It took her a bit of time to build up that assault. So, and now that she might have 2 relics, but she can't just run up in there and expect to just have things work out all willy-nilly. So yeah. But yeah, so the cat's getting a new host in Neo. Not entirely sure if things are gonna pan out well. We talked about this earlier, but out of curiosity, do any I'm so sorry for constantly coughing like this. Do any of you guys think that Neo will die this volume? How many of you guys think she will? How many of you guys think she won't? Let me know. Because I feel like that is definitely on the table as a possibility. RWBY went full American McGee on Neo. Yeah, that's true. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No. Another thing, too, is just like her new purpose could just be getting at freaking... See, here's the thing, though, right? The song One Thing could have double reference. It could have a double meaning, right? It could mean... It could be Neo talking to RWBY up until this point. And then, if she makes it back to Remnant, it could have a new purpose and now being about Cinder. Where I think we always thought that it was about her to Cinder, but like, she's been going after RWBY this entire time. So I actually think that it might work out as like a double meaning based on like Neo's perspective now versus later. But I don't know if Neo even is gonna... I don't know if Neo, like, even if she makes it out, the only way I can see Neo going toe-to-toe with Cinder is if Neo becomes a maiden. And even then, I still think that that's a fruitless effort, because I would think that Cinder would want to be strong enough to potentially challenge Salem. So even then, I'm not entirely sure if like long term, if Neo's gonna get anything out of that too, you know? Let me let's see. I think Neo will be the first person Jean can save. Oh boy. Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm surprised I haven't seen more people talk about how, like, Jean, you had one job. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, Jean just couldn't grab the cat's tail. It's like, come on now, this is not Jean's fault. All right, I don't want to hear any of this Jean slander nonsense. No, thank you. Not in my 2023, okay? Rodney Frew, thank you so much for the super chat. How would Neo know about RWBY's trauma and enough to push her over the edge? I mean, she... because RWBY's a human being. I mean... Pira was a classmate. Penny was a good friend. Ironwood was the headmaster that appointed them and was pretty close with them, appointed them as huntsmen and huntresses. Ozpin was the headmaster of her school. Clover and Lionheart were casualties along the way. But, like, any human with emotions is going to feel some type of way about that. So taking those deaths and pushing that in her face, like, and, like, throwing that in her face... You don't have to know deeply what Ruby's feeling to just kind of bring that out of her. It's not that she picked up on her trauma better than her team. She's exploiting it and using it to manipulate Ruby's mental fortitude. Her team would never do that. Like, her team, like, maybe her team didn't talk to her more quickly, but all of them are going through their own shit, so I'm not going to hold that in the same way to say, like, oh, Neo didn't notice either. Neo notices because she's exploiting it. She's the villain, you know? It's easier to be a shitty person. Well, I feel like it's easier to be a shitty person than a good person. In her case. I'm really starting to think that the gods are the true final villains of RWBY. They have a lot to answer for. I mean, villain, like, if it wasn't for the gods, none of these people would exist. So maybe that in turn is like, oh man, like, would you then rather, like, no one ever have been, like, you know what I mean? It's like the world we live in. Would you would you blame your makers for the experience of life that you have? You know, like, I don't know. Like, clearly they have a lot of casualty, like a lot of collateral damages based on their actions, but they're the end all be all. They, you know, they are the beginning and the end. So whether they give a shit, whether they care to be on the same level of humans when it comes to their responsibilities is one thing. But yeah, that's complicated philosophy there, to be like, like, they're not like your parents. You know what I mean? Like, they are everything. I will say this, though. The fact that they cursed Salem and then she came back at them with, like, an entire army of people, and then they neutralized all those people and then left Salem here alone, despite knowing that humanity would rise up again, that is a major oversight, especially on the God of Light, who knew that that was going to happen. He was like, in time, humanity will be reborn. And it's like, okay, so you know that they're going to be reborn with someone like Salem existing in the world, right? Like, that can't possibly be a good thing. Or you could also argue that he did that intentionally to specifically ban humanity against Salem, as that would be the only way for all of humanity to be united under a common threat. So, you know, there's pros and cons. Dark Miner, you have yourself a good night. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, Neo, Hostile taking over. We now have Neo Cat. Not to be confused with Neon Cat. But we got Neo Cat here. Oh, also really quick, I just want to give a big shout out to any of you guys who know Keith on Twitter. Keith Montalvo. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Keith is doing cat commissions, and he has created, and I bought a bunch of his merch. I got a bunch of merch. One of them got here today. He's dubbing it the Cursed Cat. And this is the magnet that I bought. I got a t-shirt, I got a hoodie, and I got something else. But he started doing these commissions for, like, this cat design, which is, hold on, let me just really show it to you real quick here. Look at this. Look at this. This shit looks so sick. That's a magnet. He also has phone cases, t-shirts, hoodies, short sleeves, long sleeves. And I was like, bro, say less. I got you, fam. So if any of you guys know Keith on Twitter, Keith Montalvo, he does a bunch of like commissions and artwork. And this is like his fan art that he has right now. I believe it's on Redbubble. I thought that shit was Pog. And I was like, you know what? I got you, fam. So yeah. And this is gonna go on my fridge right after the stream. But yeah, he dubbed it the cursed cat. Is there a link? I mean, there is, but I can't offer one here just because I didn't prepare to do like a full like, you know, like, hey, here's the link, go buy his merch, like all that. I just, you know, if you want to look it up again, it's Keith Montalvo on Twitter. And they have a Redbubble shop. If you go there, you'll probably be able to find it. It's dubbed the Cursed Cat. So yeah. I think you missed my previous super chat. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I've kind of overlooked a couple. I apologize. Imagine if Cinder, the only magic absorbing character, subsumes the cat, gaining all their knowledge and power. I don't know if that would necessarily work. I mean, I don't know if that applies the same way. Like, she's only able to siphon magic, but I don't think it necessarily means she gets the knowledge of the people, too. Or, I know the cat is a product of the gods, but, I mean, it'd be interesting, but I also feel like that would be kind of, like, shoehorned in just to make her more threatening. Also, the information the cat knows would be irrelevant to her because she doesn't... The Ever After... It only knows about the Ever After. And I would say it knows less things that are relevant to Cinder than things that would actually help her out. Not Maiden Magic, real magic. Well, Maiden Magic is real magic. It literally comes from the same source. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if we should treat it the same way. Like, I don't know if, like, absorbing a magical being... I just don't know if that applies the same way to an Afterin. Because, like, the reason why it exists currently is because it was made by design that way. Like, the Maiden Magic and siphoning and transferring it, that's how it was by design. So, organically, I just don't know if it would apply the same way. Because it's just kind of... You know, it has like its own laws. It does its own thing. Am I the only one that noticed Jean hasn't used his semblance throughout the entire volume? Dark Legends, thank you for the super chat. No, I mean, I noticed it as well, but I mean, he hasn't really been in any like severely major fights that he would need to. Right? Like the only fight that Jean has been in that we've seen, I mean, there were a bunch of Jabberwockers, so yeah, maybe he just doesn't feel the need to use it. Right? Because he mainly uses it to amplify his shield, which he hasn't really been in any severe fights where he would need to, or amplifies other people's auras, which everyone else seems to be kind of good on their own. So he's a support mostly when it comes to his semblance. I know this is off topic a bit, but I wanted to ask before I headed out, do you think that we'll see or hear Summer talk to RWBY in the next 2 episodes? Yeah, Nathan, we actually mentioned that earlier. Someone brought up the fact that like it would be really cool if RWBY talked to Summer Rose during her Ascension phase, or like talked to like a projection of her mom, similar to how they all got a conversation of their past self. You know, because I feel like Summer Rose is the only other person that could potentially get through to RWBY to prevent her from ascending. If she just, like, reminds her, like, what she's... you know, reminds her about like why she wanted to be a huntress in the first place, and, you know, just being a mother for her kid, like consoling them and, you know, just trying their best. Soul Edge, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. I personally want Neo to be saved and redeemed like Emerald, but I'm also good with her answering for what she's done as well. Also, Arnold, have you seen the fan art called RWBY 3.0? I have not seen any fan art of 3.0. But yeah, the thing on Neo, like, it could go either way. I'm not saying like redemption. Like, I don't need the show to tell me if it's okay for me to like a character or not based on their actions. I'm going to like a character if they're wholehearted and wholesome and honest and brave and courageous. And I'm going to like a character if they are shitty and deceptive and evil and villainous and scum of the earth. You know, like, I don't think like, I don't know. Redemption is what you make of it, I guess. But, you know, like, redemption comes from within. It doesn't just come from you doing things that can perceive you as being redeemed. It's about you wanting to be a better person, not just being performative. So, you know, all of this stuff pushed RWBY to where she was now, and as everybody in the situation, Neo is literally in this situation because of Neo's actions this episode, and Neo has no one to blame but herself. Potentially maybe Cinder, but this was all premeditated behavior on her part. So, like, to say that, you know, to claim like, oh, Neo needs to be redeemed is also kind of like absolving all of the things she just did in this same episode. So unless she's able to have a genuine, like, introspective moment with herself similar to RWBY, or if like the cat has taken her over and there's like an internal part of her that has to come to realize that what she's been doing is wrong, I'm not entirely sure about, you know, if that is something that will necessarily happen. But yeah, so the cat has hostile taken over. They also have a really cool effect with Neo's semblance where they can like break themselves down and like fly and stuff. So it's kind of like a combination of the cat's ability to like break itself apart and fly, and then Neo's semblance of like having that really cool like shattering effect. And like, I love how they kind of combined those two. I thought that was really cool. Neo having the cat eyes, the layered teeth. Also, for those who are around, how many of you guys have been here since Volume 2? I know a lot of people probably showed up around Volume 3 if you guys haven't been here from the beginning. But I asked that question. I ask about Volume 2 in particular. Or Volume 2 or earlier. Volume 2 or 1. I ask about that because I remember when Volume 2 came out and Neo was revealed in, I believe, Episode 4, Painting the Town Red. When she was revealed, like when she debuted and like the shatter glass effect and all that, people were like, who the hell is that? And a lot of people thought that Neo could have been a reference to the Cheshire Cat back then because of her like illusionary type semblance. And I remember Katie and Megan from AfterBuzz at the time were, I think they did in like an episode interview with Monty at the time. I think it was either Monty or Miles, and they confirmed that she was not based on the Cheshire Cat. I find that incredibly ironic, considering how now the Cheshire Cat has assumed direct control of Neo's body, and is basically, it's the closest thing, bro. Like, we've been like, they were just like, yo, not quite, but maybe, you know, keep watching to find out. I thought that was so cool. I was around back then too. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was gonna tweet that out, but then I saw Dan, I saw you tweeted the same thing, and I was like, oh my god, everyone else is thinking it too. let's see. Someone in chat mentioned that I might have missed a super chat. Hold on. Athena, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. No comment, but thank you, thank you. Tony Baptiste, thank you for the $10 super chat as well. What if Little becomes the door to help Team RWBY escape? Because their purpose was always to help RWBY and everyone escape to the ever after. Just an idea. We actually talked about that. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but yeah, we did mention that too, because the doorknob in Alice in Wonderland, like the Disney one, was always like sleeping and yawning, and aside from Little being like a dormouse, Little also sleeps a lot. It was based on a tweet that I originally saw. So I thought that was I think that's great that you're also coming to that conclusion as well. Oh yeah, okay, I see it here. My bad. Okay, so let's see. Thank you for the super chat. Hey Arnold, I think RWBY's biggest problem is she's looking at the whole problem of Salem instead of moving forward one at a time in a healthy way. Well, yeah, I mean, RWBY's perspective is very skewed. Reasonably so. And it's just the fact that, like, she just has a lot of things she sees as, like, baggage for her. Like, a lot of things that are weighing on her as a leader. Also, you have projections and like mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, she's dealing with everything that Neo's throwing at her, and it's, if RWBY has ever thought these things, it's almost like Neo's projections are confirming her darkest thoughts. Like, if RWBY feels like she's responsible, and then she's hearing these people that have died confirm those thoughts that she's been thinking, it's just gonna make it easier for her to give in. So it's not as easy as just realizing, like, oh, you have to move forward, you gotta move past it, like, you know what I mean? And she's got no one to lean on right now. She's at her most vulnerable. So I think that it's understandable for her to kind of go through this kind of this struggle in a way. The greater scope villain, thank you for the super chat. The heroes told the cat everything they learned from Remnant's history. Cinder would know about the gods, Salem's goals, immortality, and the magic Cinder would gain in the ever after. She'd know everything. Not necessarily, because well, hold on. Oh, you're saying that based on the cat, based off, okay, off your last comment. Like, Cinder would know everything the cat knows about Salem if Salem didn't already tell her. I see, I gotcha. I mean, I guess, but I feel like Cinder doesn't care. Like, Cinder thinks whatever Salem has planned, she can beat it. You know? I don't think, like, I think Cinder thinks she's smart enough to outsmart Salem in that regard. But I just don't think it works that way. Like, I don't think Salem absorbing, like, because, like, even the maiden, like, even the magic that is bestowed upon her by maiden transfer or maiden absorption, she doesn't get the memories of the previous host. You know what I mean? Like, that would be like if the same thing applied, but she got like an Ozpin effect. Like, Ozpin merges with his host and he gets their memories, but like that doesn't work the same way. So like at least for me, I struggle to kind of expect or see that potentially being a thing. But it's a cool idea. I just think it would be very convenient. But yeah. Zach Feifel, thank you for the super chat as well, once again. Imagine Cinder uses the Relic of Choice to take Salem's control over the Grimm for herself. Wait, hold on. Imagine Cinder uses the Relic of Choice to take Salem's control over the Grimm for herself. I don't think the Relic of Choice works that way. We don't really know how the Relic of Choice works, number one. And number two, I think the Grimm literally, I feel, only listen to Salem because she is the most dominating force in the world. Like, there is no one above her. And if there's anyone you're not going to cross, it's her. Right? I guarantee you, if the God of Darkness were to come back, they would turncoat and go back to him immediately. So, I don't think that, that would have, like, I don't think it's about, like, the choice, like, that's like, the Relic of Choice wouldn't rob you of free will. And that's basically what the Grimm are doing. They're basically acting on instinct, and they're like, hey, who's the ape? They're basically saying, who's the apex predator? And it's Salem, and that's who they're going to listen to, because above them is her. Oh, man. Oh, my God. I felt that through every part of my body felt that. I'm so glad this discussion's almost over, guys. I'm so glad I'm almost done. That's all I can say. So someone asked what the Relic of Creation does, the Relic of Choice does. In the Fairy Tales of Remnant 2D animated series, there was an episode called the Sutton and the Indecisive King. The Crown, the Indecisive King, something like that. And what it revealed was that the crown, when worn, will show you an event in the future that will happen. And it's up to you, after knowing that information, whether or not you want to, like, what you're gonna, like, it pretty much basically influences the choices that you take following knowing that information. Are you gonna do anything differently? Are you gonna do things based on that information you now know of? And so on and so forth. And it creates paranoia for the king because it's an unescapable fate. It doesn't explain what it is. I don't think that's relevant, but it explains that it's a decision that the king knows about, and so the king regresses and does everything in his power to prevent any possibility of it happening, which makes him like the worst like he just degrades. He becomes a worse version of himself. And so on and so forth. Yeah, the crown, the king, the crown, and the widow. That's what I was thinking of, both of them, because like one of them is the storybook and one of them is the animation. Yeah. So yeah, the Indecisive King, or the king, the crown, and the widow. Yeah. So, Flame Road 123. I think you've been spamming that comment for like the last like hour. Ruby will know real magic. I'm gonna ask that you stop doing that, please. Because that's considered spam, and you will be banned or timed out for that. Should probably time you out and ban you for it now, but I'm going to give you... Maybe you were super eager and you wanted me to read that. I did read it multiple times. I didn't feel it was that worth commenting on, just based on the fact that there's a bajillion things I'm trying to get through. There's super chats. There's like 800 people in chat. And so like, yeah, I apologize if I didn't acknowledge it sooner, but you don't need to type it a bajillion times. Anyways. So yeah, so the cat is on their way to the tree now. And I think the final 2 episodes are going to be, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter, but Casey tweeted out that tomorrow's episode is existential lo-fi vibes. or Lo-Fi City. Existential Lo-Fi City. So I'm sure we're gonna get RWBY's perspective. There's gonna be some lo-fi jams potentially, and existential dread potentially. What does that mean? I mean, she's probably basing it off of the vibe of the episode and the music that she's gonna have in it, because that she's been tweeting about that. She's been tweeting like that since the volume started, giving like little teases of like what the episode's music is gonna give us. So yeah, so existential lo-fi. So yeah, that should be great. The cat's on their way to the tree, which means they're on their way out of here potentially. They gotta follow them. Lord knows how the episode's gonna start. Like, we obviously have to get RWBY's perspective, little potentially. How these people are gonna get out of there, what the cat's next move is gonna be as well. Is Neo gonna make it out alive? And this is all penultimate chapter stuff here as well. I'm gonna try my best to not look at the thumbnail for the next 2 weeks, because I can't risk being spoiled on something in these next 2 episodes. It's too much. It's too serious. It's too big. It's too real. So I'm literally gonna do this. I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna try my best. I'm just gonna block out the image and I'm just gonna click on it, and I just can't risk it for the biscuit, dude. I can't. So, but yeah, that is the episode overall in a nutshell. Last but not least, I just want to say the cat concept art is the coolest thing that I've ever seen. It is such a sick concept art design. I love the entire effects that they gave the cat this episode. I didn't really talk about that much during the discussion, but the VFX this episode were phenomenal. Like, that shit was giving me so much life during my reaction. I couldn't believe it. Like, everything just looked beautiful, spectacular. The cat's redesign was so sick too, the black and white. This cat actually, for any of you guys who played American McGee's Alice Madness Returns, I've been talking about that a lot in the last week. The game was on sale on Steam up until yesterday. But the cat that they're showing right here, the one on the left with the teeth showing with the full front, that actually looks more like the version of the Cheshire Cat from that game, now that I'm looking at it again right now, which is so cool. But yeah, so yeah, the top left, that is not Neo. That is pre-Neo. That is who Neo was before she became Neo. That is Trivia Vanille. And her mom, I think her dad's name's Jimmy, and her mom's name is, I don't know, they're all based on like dessert toppings, I think. Caramel. So there's Trivia Vanille, Jimmy Vanille, and Caramel Vanille. And they're all ice cream toppings. And so, as you can see, Neo just loves her life and her parents and her upbringing. And she looks so content and definitely doesn't want to do anything different with herself. Yeah, Jimmy is Sprinkle. Yeah, I don't know why. I will never understand why. But apparently, sprinkles, another term for sprinkles on like ice cream or cake, is called Jimmy's. I will never understand when that happened, why that happened, or how that happened. But yeah. What's trivia? I don't know. I think trivia is just like it's a reference to like trivia, try three flavors, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, Neo, etc. Neapolitan. Her parents are the toppings. She's the ice cream. But yeah. Oh, it's the meeting point of all of 3 things. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at that. It's the meeting of mother, father, and daughter. And then Torchwick gets involved. Well, a lot of other things before Torchwick, but you get what I mean. And I just wanted to put this on display as well, because I feel like this is incredible that we were able to get Billy Kometz's final performance that was preserved through the work that they did for RWBY Volume 9 before his passing. And, you know, Christopher also kind of pivoted off of that from taking over for Torchwick in Ice Queendom and RWBY Volume 9 as well. So, yeah, I don't know a whole lot of work that Billy contributed to. Like I said, I'm kind of like a pleb when it comes to greater like media exposure to things like games and shows and anime. The only other character that I've ever grown attached to through Billy's work was Dr. Maruki from Persona 5, who is the best character, in my opinion, in that game. Persona 5 Royal is my favorite video game of all time. And my favorite character in Persona 5 originally was Goro Akechi, who was voiced by Robbie Daymond. And Billy just came through in Royal and was like, yeah, about that, Chief. And literally, Dr. Maruki became my favorite character after that. And unfortunately, that is the only performance that I've ever really been exposed to from Billy. But nonetheless, a phenomenal performance nonetheless. And I'm really happy that they were able to work with him as soon as they were able to, because I think this is a great tribute for him. Yeah, Dr. Snacks. But yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there. And with that being said, that is the discussion. This is a pretty long-winded one. I think this is my longest live stream, or close to that. We're pushing almost 4 hours. I just want to get through a couple more of these. I really apologize to any of you guys if the coughing and the breathing has been unbearable. I'm sick. I try to push through this as best I could. I'm feeling a little better, but I still would prefer to be I prefer to be very docile and reserved right now. I'm gonna get some dinner. I'm gonna relax for the rest of the night. But I really appreciate all of you guys who tuned in for the discussion. I hope it was fun. I hope it was entertaining and insightful, informative, entertaining, just a nice distraction, or just something to keep y'all busy and entertained. Super Mona Man, thank you for the $5 donation. I'm sorry I didn't see that sooner. This is the most traumatic episode. It was so dark. It was especially bad since I love RWBY and Neo. I can't stop. Wait. I can only stop by, but I wanted to say I love your reactions and analysis so much. As always, I love your content and keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I didn't get to read that out sooner, but I appreciate it all the same. And I think lastly for the super chats, we have Totally a Human. The $20 super chat. Forgive us, King Arnold. Our fleets are outside Earth's ranges. Rest assured, the Ethics and Compliance Office shall watch the VOD. Human friend Steve also wishes to invite you to the Jean Appreciation Club meeting on Mars. Okay. I guess did I break some some treaties? What's going on here? Yeah. Yeah, for everybody else, can you give us an update on RWBY? I can't give an update because I am not prioritizing RWBY at the moment. I'm probably going to get to RWBY after RWBY 9 is done. I just don't want to give an update because I do have other things planned after the volume. The volume is done next weekend. So after next weekend, I can probably talk a little bit more about it, but I want RWBY to be done, which is why I haven't jumped on RWBY since. Yeah, I tried to get I got an RWBY video out before the volume, which I thought I'd be able to do again, but clearly I didn't want to push beyond that. But with all that said, I think that's everything. Thank you guys all so much for your patience. I really hope that I feel better tomorrow. I would be remiss to react to RWBY and not be at my 100%. But I'm gonna try, fingers crossed, I'm gonna try to get some more fluids in. I'm going to take some medicine. I'm going to go to bed early. And I'm just going to prage that I feel better, much better. I'm at like 40% right now, like 40, 50%. But it was good enough for the discussion because it's mostly passive. I did all of my prep work yesterday and it's just talking, you know, but like reacting, I'm emoting, I'm getting hyped, I'm popping off. I don't want to be like coughing up a lung during a reaction, you know what I mean? I'm going to get through this. I'm actually not going to read one today because I'm just not feeling all too well. I know it's at the very tail end here, but I think I'm going to double up on this next week. And hopefully if I feel better next week, I will read 2 pages instead of 1. But I was going to read another one. Also, polls are kind of on hiatus at the moment. I'm just not very creative when it comes to what I should do from that. But yeah, I'm going to try to get some orange. I don't have any orange juice in my house, so I have to go and buy some. And hopefully it works out. But thank you guys all so much for the support. I appreciate all of the people who tuned in live. Thank you guys all so much for the super chat support, the donations, and just kind of being chill and awesome and respectful to each other in chat. I know this was a pretty intense episode. My reaction will be posted tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, as they usually are. I'm going to get that prepped for premiere tonight. So, and after tomorrow, hopefully I come out of it alive for the Chapter 9 penultimate reaction on Patreon. But yeah, thank you guys all for the love. Thank you for the support. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your RWBY experience tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't destroy us, and I will see you guys next week for the next discussion. Take care. Bye-bye.